Wayu, ça ou quoi?
Pamiętamy wczorajszego hejsta, gdzie świetnie to wyglądało. Może w dniu jutrzejszym, jeśli Zeta awansuje, będzie okazja na tym hejście. Super team comp niestety też jest mocny. SK nie zawodzi dzisiaj, jeśli chodzi o team compy.
Mamy Gasa. Chciałem wam powiedzieć, że Karl na Gina jest ok, chociaż Jin ma małą szansę reakcji. Oczywiście musi wtedy zmienić gadżet. Będzie raczej wymuszony gadżet odpychania, raczej. Natomiast mają super, mega silny TC. My potrzebujemy teraz game changer. Być może tu będzie Bell, być może... No musi tutaj coś być, co... Nie wiem, bo to jest jeszcze nowy. On lubi tam...
Okej, Pirlo. No to jest też spoko pod Karla, zwłaszcza z ultem.
Ale nie sprawdziła się wczoraj, natomiast tu uważam, że jest lepszym wyborem. Uważam, że może nie mamy lepszego drafta, ale mamy dobre piki na tą mapę.
Nie jest aż taki zły, jakby to mogło być po wcześniejszych rundach,
wydaje,
nie?
tak jak tak. Wczoraj na przykład na tym nokaucie uważam, że ta perła była bezużyteczna. Tutaj będzie miała więcej, ponieważ jest jedna rzecz, której oni nie mają. Nie mają rozwalania mapy, nie mają rozwalania ścian.
I to może dać nam fajną przewagę. No dobra, proszę Państwa, rozpoczynamy najważniejszy dzisiaj dla nas moment. Zeta Division SK Gaming, 2-2, decydująca runda, lecimy!
Minuta 55, proszę Państwa, zaczynamy najważniejszy mecz właściwie w tych wszystkich dniach dla nas, ale już Gero bardzo nisko, musi mega silnie uważać. Mamy tutaj Miała, który oczywiście będzie ich wszystkich leczył, ale nie możemy się na tym skupić. Oni będą pomału starali się wypracować drogę, żeby podejść i jakby... Ja bym zamienił się, żeby nowy stał na środku, pełnił rolę, co normalnie robi thrower, a Piper Gero powinna być na stronie razem z Jinem. Ponieważ tutaj nowy nie ma szans na Gusa czegokolwiek zrobić. Nie wiem, zobaczmy, czy oni tutaj coś wykombinują, bo pierwsza gwiazdka jest niestety na ich koncie i to my musimy coś zrobić.
Oj tak, ta niebieska gwiazdka nieraz naprawdę może tutaj mocno namieszać. Miejmy nadzieję, że to zaraz sfragujemy i będziemy mieli pewną przewagę, dzięki której wygramy, a tu fraguje Yoshi i przewaga zaczyna się powiększać niestety dla SK. Nowy ma też tam kłopoty, coraz mniej HP, musi uciekać. Bardzo niedobrze się rozpoczyna to spotkanie dla nas.
Nic nie trafi.
Mocny pull, gratulacje, ale to dalej jeszcze nas nie cieszy.
Jeszcze mamy jedną szansę na nabicie ulti Gina.
I trzeba będzie ją wykorzystać już.
Jin nabija się średnio 50 sekund, więc być może będzie na końcówkę, ale użył teraz rakiety na 3. Bardzo dobrze. Joker bardzo nisko. Musimy coś teraz zrobić i wtedy będziemy w stanie to utrzymać, ale nie ma to oczywiście ładna sytuacja to nie jest, ponieważ mamy perłę, która jest...
Udało się jeszcze uciec, no i Zeta ma przewagę, 26 sekund do końca, Gero na hiper, mamy wszyscy praktycznie ulty.
I mamy pula jeszcze na Miał.
To trzeba wykorzystać, 18 sekund.
Jesteśmy w super uprzywilejowanej sytuacji, bo to...
C'est pas elle, je crois, c'était l'autre. Benny, c'est Brawl Stars e-sport. Et Brawl Stars e-sport. Ouais, voilà. Ouais, je savais même pas qu'il y avait ça.
Pearl, when she has that super available, you will be blown up instantly. 10 seconds left and SK Gaming trying to find a little bit of poke damage. Yoshi comes forward, super ready. Lana has to go in, hooked in, dive. There's going to be a jump from Yao. Still, SK Gaming come out on top. Full commitment, full trust, full force.
The highest pressure situation you could possibly have here in Brawl Stars. These fellas putting everything on the line. What looked bleak for a moment is now SK Gaming on match points.
It doesn't get much closer than that, Kenny. SK Gaming have to breathe a sigh of relief for having got away with that in the first place. The Gene is a problem. It's very scary to deal with Meow. Here's the bench of spirits again. Good poke. Homemade recipe almost claims the blue star.
SK once again backed up to their spawn side. Still the star advantage. They're playing this defensively. They don't have to overdo it. Normally a really aggressive comp, but they're going to be passive aggressive on this one. They're going to look for a mistake from Zeta Division and then strike.
They know they're going to be defensive because of their ability to get that early blue star. But they're giving up a lot of map control. Leonard just steps out in the open. That's the blue star handed over to Zeta.
Zeta Division now with a narrow lead. One star, the difference maker. Time dwindling on in both these sides, just trying to charge up utility. Joker pierces a shot through that indestructible wall. Leonard looking to get in position.
Dangerous.
That's over-aggression. Mistake coming out of Joker.
I get it. He saw Meow was low. He knew he had the blue star as well. but an uncharacteristic overheat from the youngster. Here comes Gero now.
Ok.
Hypercharge. Getting a stat boost. Lenar is certainly going to drop here. Nice shield from Joker, but he won't walk away. Still, we'll start back to SK. It's a 2-star deficit for the team in blue.
That's important. Even though they're down, Blue Star matters. When not diving in, they're going for a little positioning here. They have to set themselves up for one final push. Crucial miss out of Meow.
Composure now for SK Gaming. They know what they have to do. They need Yoshi super online, and Lenar needs to build one too. They need to be able to full engage here or get some ghosts set up for Cookie Popper activations for the Gus.
Joker now,
Allez,
shot
4
clock
secondes,
available. One kill possibly
go.
away
Allez, parti,
from
allez,
day
Scott.
number 3. Lenar
Allez,
position,
il reste
Yoshi
10 secondes,
flanks.
des coups,
Now
des
he
coups.
on the left hand
Catch it,
in.
Pop.
Yoshi looking for get him in position. This could be a
Allez,
rewrite of the
allez,
previous
allez,
game.
dépêchez-vous,
It's
dépêchez-vous.
Lenar chasing him down. And they've done it! SK Gaming! If you want to seize the crown, you have to seize crown. The Kings, SK Gaming, have put the world champions to the sword.
Ah oui, ok. Il faut SK. Ah dinguerie les gars, dinguerie gros.
In a moment that defies belief,
J'en étais sûr que t'allais être
SK Gaming
SK
turn a 2-star deficit into a 1-star lead, and that, folks, is all they need to send last year's world champions home.
Ah bien vu SK.
What a miraculous final
replay,
game there. Back-to-back games. Look at this. Came down to the final
okay.
seconds. Lenar low
Yeah.
HP.
Yeah,
He dies
no,
with 2 seconds left.
déjà un
And
kill.
one single shot from Joker changed the entire game. This game number
Lenar
2,
qui
a repeat. Lenar once again in position.
Il met quelques
Yoshi with the
dégâts.
flank and Joker
Là,
with
il
a
faut
big
vraiment
time
compter.
shot here. And Lenar scoops
Vraiment, ouais,
up
c'est
the
vraiment
rest.
compter.
The
GG.
kill count actually favoring Zeta Division side.
bien
That
vu.
is tragic.
And that's
GG les gars.
how the cookie crumbles. Zeta Division just having a couple of extra stars to be taken from them in those final moments. Gero consistently great damage over the course of Bounty. But we saw both rounds come down to the very dying seconds. And for a team like SK to be able to orchestrate a comeback of that magnitude within such a small window, that's special. You don't see that every day. In fact, we rarely ever see that at all.
This World Finals has just been unbelievable.
Incroyable.
Yesterday, best of 3, as it felt like we were going toe-to-toe on this stage with every single team. The 2 seed, the 3 seed, throw it out the window. When you get to this level, every team is just fighting for their lives to the point where a world champion goes down in our quarterfinals. MVP for the people at home, the man that revolves around SK Gaming's entire plan, Lenar.
Had a big job. Playing the Carl on Bounty means that he had to be the one ultimately to choose to decide when to go in. We talked about the win condition. Make sure Yoshi can give him a shield. Send Lenar in. And it's the classic Swiss guy go kill strategy for SK Gaming that pays off in the very end. But none of that would work without Joker in the background, pulling the strings, the mastermind here for SK Gaming. That was a set that ought to be studied. And I'll give you something else for homework, folks. Let's check our bracket and see how things stand as of the end of our first quarterfinal. SK Gaming advanced to take on the winner of Humble and Pioneers, making it to the semi-finals. Something tells me it might just be destiny for this team.
I couldn't help but wince just thinking about the team that's going to have to play SK Gaming next, and it's possibly the number 1 seed in EMEA. Pioneer is going to be a strong opponent for them as well, coming up just a little bit later down the line. And on that lower side of the bracket, still more EMEA action. Reply Totem there, Rival Esports, a surprise team from this tournament. And now Crazy Raccoon, they see Zeta Division out of the way, and I'm sure they're not too upset about it.
Oh, buddy, absolutely. The bottom part of that bracket also promises to tell a compelling story. Coming up next, it's a question of whether this Pioneers squad from North America, the team that looked to be the best in the region for most of the year, can they handle the heat that Humble are bringing? What do you think? Event.brawlstars.com. Head over there, get your predictions in, and get yourself some fantastic in-game loot, including potential hypercharge. You can see how much of a difference those have been making over the course of these games. It's been a pleasure to be in the booth. Mitch Leslie, Kenny Barlow. We're headed to a break. When we come back, it will be Pioneers versus Humble in our second quarterfinal.
Bien. Incroyable. Ah putain la dinguerie.
The 2024 Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Ah, ça c'est les collabs, ça, les gars. Supercell.
Once upon a brawl,
Oh, l'histoire, le lore.
a new evil emerged. A handsome young minstrel who once charmed crowds, now fallen to darkness, his smile but a shroud. A mischievous feline, known for his cute paws, now a master thief, unlocking chests and doors. A healing guitar and a friendly face, now a flaming skull, kindness gone without a trace. A delicious cookie baker, one of the best, now a haunted castle, a ghoulish guest. This automaton once served juice. Now with his sword, your head he'll make loose. A knight turned into a nightmare. Nani and Pete now only want to scare.
Nani.
A fairy tale ending? No! A scary tale beginning!
People often ask, how can I do become a world championship winner? What must I do to get abs of steel and fist of fury? The answer? Gimnasio Primo! You will learn to summon strength, summon asteroids, and serve a spicy jalapeno knuckle sandwich to even the strongest of brawlers. Fight with el fuego in your heart. It will not be easy, but as El Primo once said, no pain, no gain, no glory. Gimnasio Primo. It's showtime.
Primo. Ah, let's go.
Welcome back to the Brawl Stars World Finals. It is day 2 and the action is already underway with SK Gaming eliminating Zeta Division from the competition just moments ago. But we've got to keep the ball rolling and introduce our next quarter-finalists to the stage. Your first team is currently 1-1 at the Brawl Stars World Finals and making their debut on the main stage all the way from North America. It is Payne, Second Best, and Juan Carlos. They are Pioneers.
Humble championnat. Juan Carlos, gros. Juan Carlos.
Their opponents continue to surprise the masses on the main stage, absolutely dominating yesterday. It is Semantic, Lukey, and Boss. They are Humble.
Allez, bébé.
Welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship World Finals. What a day it has been so far, Trav. The Brits are back on the desk. We've almost lost our voices from watching that last matchup.
Honestly, that was some of the best gameplay we've seen in a while in the Brawl Stars Championship, and no better place than that for the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Absolutely crazy. Well, we've got to gear up our next matchup. Let's touch first and foremost on Pioneers. A great run for them this year, Travis. It's got to be said, 2 Grand Finals wins, 2 Grand Finals appearances, 2 for 2 for them, and for Juan Carlos for Payne for Second Best, a very, very important day.
I mean, Second Best looked kind of fresh out of bed there, coming in his pyjama bottoms as well, walking onto the stage. Honestly, he's been wearing these all week. I don't know if he's always chronically in bed or what, but you know, he loves his long-range brawlers, and I think that reflects in the Piper. What a player he's genuinely been all year long.
It really has, and it's been great to watch Second develop along the years, and he's certainly earned his place on the world stage. Fantastic to see him now being able to find his place, and certainly though, must be said, Humble are going to be a fierce opposition. They are the #1 seed in the EMEA region.
And we've just seen how well EMEA can do on the world stage as well. We've got 4 of the 5 teams through to day 2 as well, and this team tops all of them as far as the regular season goes. Semantic, Lukey, and Boss being the Humble roster.
Got to mention as well, Lukey, what a fantastic year it's been for him. Someone that I've really felt was a shining star last year, came just shy of the LCQ. but certainly this year has been flying, absolutely flying. And you know, it's hard to even recall the fact that it's his first World Finals appearance. I mean, for someone in that position, you know, you've got to give him a lot of credit for how he's been handling himself. For Semantic, this is his 4th World Finals. For Boss, this is his 2nd. So in that regard, less experience, but that boy can play.
Yeah, I mean, how much expectations he had behind him as well, coming into 2023 and 2024 when he turned freshly 16. He's really been living up to those month after month after month. He's been playing so well, and Humble being one of the most consistent teams in the world. And that's kind of the complete opposite, I feel, for Pioneers. Pretty much everybody lining up with Humble here, all 5 of us on the casting decks, and also the viewers at home as well.
I can understand it. It makes a lot of sense for sure, but you know, I've got to say as well, like Semantic being like on the Humble squad is the most, you know, experienced of that squad. Before this World Finals, had only won 8 sets in World Finals. I mean, the 4 that they won yesterday made it 12 in total. That's the 3rd of his entire career of sets won in World Finals. So certainly had to break that curse, and that's brought him to where they are today. For Humble, this is a huge test for them. Pioneers and the North American region, for me, have been just excelling this year to all new heights. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring today.
See, the thing is, I think this is consistency from EMEA versus the complete opposite from North America. Pioneers obviously coming in as the number 2 seed from NA. First month, they get knocked out first. Second month, they win. Third month, they go back to being knocked out again. And then the next month, they win once more, kind of ending somewhere in the middle in July, 3rd to 4th as well. So it's been a very back and forward year for them. And on the world stage, you need the complete opposite. You need to always be focused. You need to always be bringing your best. And I just hope that's going to be what Humble are doing, Pioneers are doing today, sorry.
And it was funny because Semantic, you know, just hopped into the dressing room before going on the stage and stuff and was chatting to me about how consistent they've been all year long, and that is absolutely true. They've just got the 1 Grand Final wins out of the 4 Grand Finals appearances. So my reservation there was simply that, well, you know, you are and have been so consistent, but you've got to start to tie up those little loose ends along the way, and we're now on the world stage. You've got to secure those end 5th sets.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, 2nd in 3 monthly finals. I'd be pretty happy with that going all year long. But nobody wants to finish 2nd in the Brawl Stars World Finals. You want the top prize. You want the bragging rights and all. Also, that beautiful belt behind us on the stage as well. We're going to be starting things off then in Bridge Too Far. Humble versus Pioneers. We're kicking things off in Heist, and a pretty overwhelming prediction from the public going Humble's way.
71%. We were all united here on the talent side also, putting a lot of faith, it must be said, in the side of Humble, but we can't forget the fact that Pioneers have just been so fearful on the battlefield. They look really, really good, in my opinion. For Heist then, Bridge Too Far, and a draft coming in, the bands being the Piper, the Mo, and the Kenji on the side of Humble. And for Pioneers, the Lola, the Chuck, and the Melody. Definitely a nice thing to see the Melody taken out of the mix there. The Mo also, and the Kenji, I think for good reason. A first pick of Angelo. I hate this brawler on this map. It's just a nightmare to deal with. So the fact that that has slipped through is definitely a worrisome thing, followed up by the Amber of Pioneers, which we saw a little bit yesterday on this very place, but it just didn't really kind of bring in the goods.
I'm so glad you expanded on hating Angelo, because I was like, what do you mean you hate Angelo? He's probably one of the best brawlers on the map. But yeah, it is extremely annoying. That, however, is not something I would have expected to see on a Bridge Too Far. Kit, what is he thinking?
NA, bro, NA. I mean, it's really quite a worrisome thing looking at a Kit, especially on a mode like Heist. It's definitely, you know, not what I would expect to see, but something which could spiral out of control with the right combinations, and they could be thinking Frank. That's all I'm saying. It's definitely one of those brawlers which comes up a lot in North America. That is definitely a boss brawler if I ever saw one. He is dangerous, absolutely dangerous on the Colt, and that was another one left wide open. You can just shred through that safe with a Colt if left uncontested. The damage gear rolling in on top of that as well. It really, really can go from bad to worse. I think that Pioneers have got to be playing a very cautious defense. Combined with the 8-bit. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster here, Trav.
Honestly, I was thinking Colette, right? You see a Kit on the other side and you kind of like, okay, they're probably going to go a tank. You even mentioned the Frank, which is just absolutely out of the ordinary. We probably would have never seen it in competitive Brawl Stars before. So therefore you can like, okay, they're probably going to go a tank. We'll take the Colette and, you know, kind of just shred through it. It's good on the map, good on Heist as well. So we'll see what Pioneers do choose to bring in, whether or not they're going to just pivot off something completely different and just play something a bit more long range, which they are going to do. And I do have to question this Pioneers comp. Humble, it's normal. I love that. But Pioneers have got a point to prove with this.
it's probably going to be second best on that belt. And for me, one of the finest Bell players in North America. He is just such an incredible sharpshooter. I just kind of question the kit somewhat. Did that change the course of the action along the way when they saw what Humble brought to the table? Because it just doesn't really feel to me like it has too much of a synergy. It can absolutely swap between the lanes and provide a bit of support wherever it needs to be, but I don't know, it's probably my least favorite brawler to be seen in this draft.
Yeah, well, instantly invising straight down the mid. Lukey going to be starting off with a few missed shots against him there, but eventually Juan Carlos will come out of that cardboard box and become visible once more. Boss going to pick up this left-hand side against second best quite early on and should be adding some decent damage to the safe to kick off this matchup.
Halo as well as Juan Carlos, and immediately Humble have got a huge advantage as a three-man squad pushing through the mid, just second best now as the only Pioneers player still alive. Payne now coming back into the mid and already being tapped up as Lukey's been quite accurate there with the help of damage booster. Nice gadget away as well, out of the harms there of Juan Carlos. Semantic's creeping forwards as well. That poison's going to trickle down Juan Carlos, and look at this, more than 50% damage already dealt to the safe by Humble.
I mean, Boss trips a nest egg and still absolutely devours the safe. Pioneers haven't had a look in. Semantic beaming it down, Bot in there as well. Juan Carlos looks like he's pretty much giving up. He hasn't had a look in. Pretty sure he's got 0 damage in this game. And Humble destroy Pioneers in the end of the game.
I know second best is wearing his pajamas, but they need to wake up on the side of Pioneers. That was an incredibly fast game. I mean, we're talking a minute. And Humble have got a comp which can just tear through things like that. You've got to clear up your lanes, you've got to slow the pace. Having those kind of base race ideas for Humble is exactly what they want in their strategy, and you've got to slow it down.
Well, double right-hand side, I much prefer this strategy as well. Juan Carlos has kind of gone under the radar so far in the bush, but it seems Semantic might be scouting out, trying to get a feel of where he is. And Lukey going to be able to join him over this side thanks to the ability that Angela provides, almost takes him down, and Boss doing a great job here. Jump once again from Lukey, the countermeasures are there, and it's all Humble once more.
Juan Carlos there just a sitting duck effectively here. Lukey trying to find a second inversion. Lukey comes out on top, gets the super forward as well, and gets some quick kills popping there. The nest egg is going to help out considerably to allow Boss to now come through that left-hand side, and Semantic is a rock on that right-hand side. That additional movement as well with the back of the star power really enabling him to be able to juke a lot of those shots.
Well, the bell bounces off the 8-bit turret, will clean up this mid and give Payne a bit of a pathway through. But so far, not really taking advantage of this kind of control they've managed to gain. The double right-hand side with Colt there as well. Luckily enough, Juan Carlos there. But for how long? Delaying the inevitable, and this damage starts destroying the Pioneers safe.
As a kid, you just can't jump on a player with all 3 members ready for the pickup, and just that's why Humble are just staying firm on the right. Boss, Semantic, Lukey, all 3 members going on the safe and getting the set in spectacular fashion. That was a walkover trap.
What do I even say to that? What do I say about that set? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. They didn't even get a look in. Pioneers had about 3% damage on the safe. I'm ready to see a Juan Carlos 0 DPS, to be honest with you.
The stats are not going to be kind. I can say that for sure. Samantha came into the dressing room and said, we're going to lose today. Well, that was not a losing mentality there, for sure. That was just, honestly, extreme. I don't know whether Pioneers maybe just felt that they had a winning draft or whether they had a trick up their sleeve, but certainly it just, oh my word.
11.
Oh my word. 0 and 0 Payne and Juan Carlos, 11 DPS for Juan as well. Payne is 104. I mean, that's abysmal. You got to say how it is on the desk.
What's that? Probably 1 hit across the entire game? Like 11 DPS with 0 kills. Yeah, he's playing kit. Come on, try something different. Jump on someone's back. He hasn't even landed a super. It's really disappointing from Pioneers. I mean, you can't be getting defeated like that. Their mentality's going to be wavering. They're going to be all over the place.
I think, honestly, that's probably like the lowest stats I think I've ever seen on a World Final stage. I mean, really disappointing stuff, and Pioneers can do better. I know, I've seen them all year long. They are a fantastic team. I'm not sure whether it's the nerves or whether the draft just didn't really go their way. But something is not right, and there is no time now to fix it, really. You know, you've got to come in more prepared than that.
Yeah, well, we had confirmation the kit did, in fact, get 0 shots in the first game. So I think we know where to place the blame to start with, but some reparations are still available. We've got a few more sets until they're going to be completely wiped out the competition, and they're going to have to make a change. We're heading on to Sneaky Fields in Brawl Ball, and if he gets that kind of low DPS again, I'd be worried about what's going on.
I said going against my least favorite brawler, but I kind of expected just a kill. Just one, maybe, would be nice. Wow, Sneaky Fields The draft and the bans already in. The Max, the Frank, and the Sandy for Humble. And a first early draft of Search, which I really love. It's very versatile to have and a great tank counter also. The Rico, the Sandy, and the Mo banned by Pioneers. And certainly they like to bring their tanks on this map, so I like the Frank ban for that very reason. Solid stuff on their front as well. Kenji though, wide open here, just putting that one out there. Yeah, what a surprise.
They're putting it out there, it's obvious it's going to be picked up. But then again, Humble have the Surge, that's going to be pretty decent against the Kenji. They can add a Daryl or something like that. And Pioneers are accounting for that exact eventuality. They know tanks are one of the only answers to Kenji, so they add the Clancy, who's going to be able to get a lot of levels off those tanks. You just got to question now whether or not Humble are just going to run these tanks directly into it and take them head on.
Such a free Gale map for me, honestly, going into that Kenji. And the Clancy was a nice pairing, to be fair, on the side of Pioneers, but certainly Brawl Balls, we know. I mean, the amount of utility that Gale brings to the table, the twister on the ball to really just get you out of a really sticky situation, as well as locking down some of these lane sides, exactly that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think Humble are reading this one like a book.
Yeah, you're reading it like a book as well. Today, you're on fire today, Ark, with these graphics.
Is that a compliment from you?
Honestly,
holy!
And that shows how impressed I am. That shows how impressed I am. Rare to get a compliment on me, especially you.
It's a special occasion for sure.
It really is. Got to bring them out for the World Finals. Humble have their last pick now, then 15 seconds to select something. And honestly, I wouldn't mind just tripling down with the tank counters or taking a tank of their own, the Daryl, being able to add on the 2 rolls. But they're going to go with the Stu, the ability to just use that mobility, get away from the Kenji. I love what Humble have got here.
Yeah, Stu, especially in those overtime scenarios, you're going to be able to really just get a nice lineup shot when all the boxes fall down. And against some meteor brawlers like the Kenji, able to dash away and provide some speed zone potential off the back of that gadget also. Or the breakthrough as well. On a map like Sticky Fields, that can go a long way too. The third and final pick now coming in for Pioneers. It's got to be a good one. They are lacking just a little bit of range. These would be nice to have. Let's see, Charlie. Ooh. Charlie's been out of the kind of meta for a while. I was banking that one being an I'm certainly not a Charlie. A brawler which, ironically enough, we didn't see kind of like once in last year's World Finals. And I'm not sure how much we've really seen it in this year's World Finals, but for very different reasons.
I wish we didn't see it in this year's World Finals, to be 100% honest with you. It's just so odd to me. The draft that Pioneers are bringing out, it's like they're such an underdog team trying to make a random draft pick that's going to throw their opponents off. But they're not that much worse than Humble. Humble definitely the favourites coming into this one, as the viewer said, as we said as a collective on the casting desk. But it seems like they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the World Finals is not the time for that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Semantic there, sending some love, looking very confident in himself. Gotta say a big shout out to the boss as well.
He's
honestly.
looking good.
He's looking great, isn't he? He's putting a lot of work in, and also when you look through his kind of history, he's had it rough in the years going by. 2022 in Paris, getting reverse swept by STMN, not making last year's World Finals, and then coming back this year and coming back as strong as he has. I think that we don't sing his praises nearly enough because he is that kind of person that keeps himself a little bit in the background, a very quiet but very well-mannered individual. And it's just great to see him bring out some of those really aggressive brawlers this year, tapping with those Colt picks and those long-range brawlers, and just a very aggressive and all-rounded player.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if Pioneers are going to be able to even out the score and bring it back to 1-1. A very disappointing initial set from them against this Humble roster who seemed to be walking over them, just completely dominant here in the first set on a bridge too far. And by the looks of the draft, I would not be surprised if that exact same thing happens again. Pioneers need to change their strategy. They need to change what they're doing here, or they're going to be going home early in day 2.
Well, I think Payne's got some hand warmers there. So maybe that's the strat, you know? If the thumbs aren't warmed up, just get the whole hands going, I guess. But as we go in now, certainly this is a set that Pioneers can maybe not afford to lose. Giving so much of an advantage to Humble would definitely be a mistake. A second already going immediately in there on Semantic. Goes in with a nice slice and dice, but Semantic gets the final say. The takedown is there. A good defense. As with Payne and Juan Carlos are pretty weak there on the left and right hand sides.
They get them all the way back to spawn, but it really does nothing for the team as they have zero control. Semantic's going to break some walls, get that grass opened up a little bit more, and make it a lot harder for second best to really show his worth. Lukey with a knockback, not going to have that stunning blow as we see the slows being in as well. Juan Carlos solo on his left-hand side, yet to get a level. Lukey moving forwards, might be able to get a super here and knock them all the way back. Twister plays down to prevent Payne from getting out this locked position in spawn. An all-out control once more from Humble. They know they don't need to overextend for this goal because they're in such a phenomenal spot.
I like that from Payne, being very reserveful there of the cocoon to ensure that he didn't waste it. It's going to be good to have on the defense now. Nice super there from Lukey. Oh, and a follow-up from Bosses there as well. Danger here for Pioneers as Humble are pushing forwards. It's just second best now. That twister was perfectly placed by Lukey. A simple super shot with a bit of miscommunication, but I think it would have been better to maybe do exactly what they did in all honesty. I think that Payne coming in there would have been able to shut that down regardless. So Boss there coming back, I don't mind it.
Yeah, at least it's a 1-for-1 super trade. You know, Lukey might have used the super to pass the ball forward, but Payne threw out that cocoon. Like, he was very scared that was going to be a goal. Boss going to get his super again and the hypercharge along the way. Juancarlos trying to defend this ball in the corner. Payne in the goal mouth. They're just getting slowed, beaten down until Humble can get an opening, and at the moment, it's going to present itself pretty soon.
I like this from Humble. They're just keeping things consistent and keeping the pressure on Pioneers, not going in too aggressive too early, trying not to feed as much into Payne as he's probably the best person to have on that defense. Eradicated now, super pass from Semantic, and Lukey will be the one to score it and place Humble on the map in Brawl Ball.
Well, hypercharge ready to roll for Boss still, and Lukey has the super and his as well. Now they go in. A lot of damage going to come down from that. Payne uses his to get a bit of extra mobility. Lukey going to be landing directly where second best is as well. I mean, guys, we need to see something past one. I mean, that was a very bad communication there, but still might be able to walk it. Definitely should have been a goal for Humble, but with 20 seconds on the clock, no need for that overextension.
I don't mind this from Humble. They're just whittling down Pioneers and just almost rubbing the salt in the wound. And as time trickles down, it really is Pioneers who've got to make the move. The protester from second best is not an unusual thing to see in this circumstance, though. I kind of feel like it's necessary because Humble are really starting to run away with this. They're making it look far too easy on the world stage.
This is 2 sets in a row where we haven't seen them get out their own half of the map, pretty much.
Yeah.
Locked down from Humble, and Pioneers can just stand and watch and come out of spawn time and time again. It's such a disappointing performance from Pioneers so far. We need to question when they're going to wake up, when something's going to happen. Payne on this pick of the Charlie on the left-hand side really didn't do too much at all.
Certainly with experience on that side of things, you know, it's second best first land, you know, it's Payne and Juancarlos' second World Finals. It's definitely going to be taking its toll, but I just kind of felt like as number 2 seed of North America that you'd show a bit more of a resolve than this, but so far it's all about Humble. Lukey can just pass Semantic and just get that Gasser Hill along the way as well to stay in position as that Stu. Payne searching the left, but no one's there right now, and now second going to the right-hand side, falls straight into the arms of Lukey and Boss, and this ball again in such an aggressive spot. It's still an open door relatively here for Humble to walk through whenever they feel like it.
I mean, it's a 3v1 every time someone comes out of that Pioneer spawn. Eventually they're going to wait for all 3 of them to come back in and have a bit of a say in a 3v3 fight here, but Semantic going to go for the dashes in. Second best trying to follow him, gets the gadget heal as well, slicing through this mid, but Lukey will be there when he lands. Twister was placed as a kind of insurance as well, but Payne moving forward towards the cocoon, trying to get the kill on Lukey, and still nobody will secure that kill. 3 people tried, and he still lives.
Again, just taking their time, and just getting the resources up. Boss is pretty low stacks there on that surge pick as well, so he needs to try to level things up. Juancarlos just inching towards the ball there, not going to pick it just yet. Pops a gadget as well, but it's got to connect the shots to be able to get his stacks higher. And now Lukey goes straight in, sees the opportunity, hypercharge there, slams second to the wall, and should be able to walk it in. Humble do it and get another goal.
I mean, they're not taking risks. They're just waiting until all 3 members of Pioneers are dead and taking the free goal every single time. Second best trying to make a move down this right-hand side now. Getting towards Lukey. Eventually, we're starting to see something from Pioneers here. Second best goes for the dash, baits out Boss. Had the super, but no opening as Boss covers the goal entry. Payne one shot and he's going to fall as well. 40 seconds on the clock, and what hope do Pioneers have?
It's probably the best opportunity that we've seen from Pioneers all day long so far. And at the moment, Humble have got all the control with 30 seconds left on the clock as well, as Boss there pops a nice hypercharge, really just keeping everything in check. And Humble just going to keep that ball in that pocket. Why wouldn't they? It's Pioneers, they've got to make the move, and they just keep stumbling down. Every attempt to even leave the goal face is doomed.
Shots from Boss follow up, and second best trying to make a break for it. Gadget and hypercharge comes in from Payne, but it's still nothing. No kills coming in from Pioneers. Humble on lockdown, and now 1 set away from the semi-finals of World Finals in 2024.
And you can hear the crowd roar behind Humble as they've been flawless so far. It's hard to believe that they can't go all the way, but we've seen some crazy turnarounds in the BSC, and this is the World Finals. What better time to see something from Pioneers, but it's very difficult to feel it to get behind it from what we've seen so far. It just doesn't feel like the chemistry is there. Doesn't feel like there's much really going on with the squad. Maybe the communication just on an all-time low. The pressure, it's definitely getting to them.
It feels like there's no... Oh, look at this. That's what? 4 kills in 2 sets of Brawl Stars for Pioneers. And Humble, double that with just Semantic in this set. Add 12 from Lukey, add 13 from Boss. And this is squaring up to be a complete sweep by Humble.
I mean, Humble up there pretty much collectively got more kills than we tend to see in a best of 5 that goes all the way. I mean, just a slaughter. It is what it is. Humble have never looked so good, or have Pioneers never looked this bad. It's really kind of hard to say at this present moment in time. It's really quite astounding.
I think it's a bit of both. Humble are looking really good. Their drafts are phenomenal. Their gameplay's phenomenal. They're playing as a team, and it's the complete mirror for Pioneers. They look defeated. Their drafts aren't good. They're not playing as a team, and this is shaping up to be one of the most dominant sweeps we've ever seen in the World Finals. Or in Brawl Stars.
I thought you nailed it until you said the second bit, and then I realized that you're absolutely right. Yeah. Like, it's what it is, you know? But for Pioneers, maybe they can bring something out of the bag. I like to believe that they've got the skill to be able to do so, and it's just the drafts that are just not really working for them. But, you know, they've got Philip behind them, and he's a fantastic coach and drafter. I mean, he's got that massive, thick Bible of notes every single time we see him. So it's really kind of hard for me to say. I just feel like maybe it's the nerves. I just don't really. But then I say that, but then they had Kit first set. That was just not it. So probably a bit of both.
I mean, I want to see them get a good draft and put up a fight against Humble, because then we will see if it is the nerves or if it is that draft. So far, it seems like the draft to me, and maybe the nerves do play a part as well, but the Frank, Mo, and Kenji bans roll on in from Humble on Hard Rock Mine. I mean, Ruff's first pick?
Staple diet in North America, isn't it, really? I mean, there's a reason why Humble keep banning the Frank as well, because they know that in the hands of Pioneers it's so deadly. But I mean, I don't necessarily mind the Rust, but I think in this kind of meta, there's better kind of ideas. I think the Surge first pick for me is a bit more of my flavor. I think it's that kind of similar idea that they're trying to go for with something which is a bit more versatile, can provide something of a buff over time to their teammates. But I mean, in this kind of meta, I would prefer to see the kind of Surge coming through. Rico coming in for Humble, you know, is my favorite brawler on this map, has always been. A lot of the time banned for good reason as well. He'll be taking that lane side. There's a mid still open here for Humble. Quite like a Sandy pick here myself, to be completely honest, but plenty of other options as well available to them. The Gus, yeah, like that as well, coming in for them. Good range, and we know what that shield can do, and it leaves a third and final pick open as something potentially tanky to combine with that Gus shield.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best lanes picked up by Humble, and possibly the best mid now picked up after Pipe has been banned, after Penny's been banned. It kind of leaves a bit of a gaping hole in the mid, and that's something that Gus can fill pretty flawlessly. Ruffs on the side of Pioneers, it just seems like a worse version of Rico to me on this map. That's all I can say about it. They do have this second pick, and they will follow it with a third shortly after that. They need a mid still, but they're going to go with the Daryl. I don't mind that. They've got the aggression. It's something that North America really do so well. Play these tanks. We saw second best player over on the B stream yesterday, and that man was playing brilliantly on the Daryl. But there's so much work to do left for Pioneers.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a belt mid here for the second, to be completely honest, and have that Ruffs and Daryl go on the side lanes on the aggressive, get a bit of wall break potential as well along the way, but certainly Pioneers need to go back to their winning ways. Get that aggression rolling in from Juan Carlos, get that control coming in from the mid, and that gem carry that Second's been so consistently doing, and every mode he's been very good all year long. Gene for that mid, I don't mind that necessarily either. I was kind of thinking it along the way. They've got to have that support network there when that magic hand comes in. You know, if the Daryl and the Ruffs are too busy on their side lanes, they're not going to be there for that, so they've got to be cautious. That vision gear, though, for sure, going to come in very handy with that Gene. Third and final here for Humble. They can go in really quite heavy on the tanks. For me, Clancy going to be that big tank counter, but it's still so strong into non-tank brawlers. Just a bit of a risk to get it up to that max stack level, but once you have, you can just run over your opposition with Clancy.
Yeah, it seems like we're probably going to have quite a lot of lane swaps here on Hard Rock Mine. Pioneers' best draft yet. And what a time to be able to pull this out of the bag. They need 3 in a row to be able to turn this back on Humble and make it to the semi-finals, but only one set stands between Humble and victory.
No one wants to see a sweep on the world stage, not on day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. And in we go. The pressure certainly mounting for Pioneers. But as you said, Trav, a draft is our favourite so far here from them today. Let's see what they can make of it. Luki already taking an affirming role in the mid with 3 gems to his name. Good. Cookie Popper there onto Pain as well. Really keeps him low for longer. 4 gems now. Sandbags from Juan Carlos are already shredded very quickly by Boss. The Semantic is already stacking up things and just eradicates the Daryl of there. Juan Carlos on the right-hand side.
I mean, look how close he is to level 3 already. He's getting shots. He's getting so many shots against the Daryl, and they're not even attempting to swap because Daryl's going to have a pretty poor matchup no matter which side he goes. Break coming in on the left-hand side from Juan Carlos, and Pain yet to see the light of day in terms of the gem spawner. Now we eventually see this rotation over to the left-hand side from second best, but he meets Gus and Rico on that side. A shield being provided to Boss now as well. Ready to fight off, and already 8 gems for Luki, and KCP about to pick up their first.
Humble have had a great opportunity in the mid to keep this control going as well. Semantic already getting some good value off the Daryl, was now second, rolling in, finds there the nice little supply drip along the way and gets down Boss. This is the kind of thing we need to see more of here from Pioneers, but the gems are not being gathered in the mid. One more over to Humble and only one more away from the countdown. We get a magic handful from Pale to Luki. That's the best they can hope for at the moment, but Boss getting some big taps. That gem there in the middle, Humble are not rushing towards because second is being a menace in their spawn.
Yeah, really tough situation now for Humble, locked in spawn with a magic hand waiting for them as they try to push out. Semantic almost at level 3, wants to rotate to that right-hand side, but vision gear from Pain stopping him from doing just that. Second best in the back push, now the hypercharge comes through, so many bounces, big storm, that's the magic hand used. Second best should be pinched down here, and especially with Semantic using this super as well. Almost level 3 secured, and 1 gem for them will secure it. Luki picks it up, and countdown starts for Humble.
Seconds coming in now, has got support network behind him, but got to go on the aggressive. There's not enough time from the mid here. Seconds low here as well. Pain needs to land the magic hand, and everyone from Humble is just too far away. The pressure is getting to Pioneers. It's going to be a match point for Humble.
Something needs to change. They need 3 sets straight and they can't get a look in. What a start that was from Humble in Hard Rock Mine. 8 gems before Pioneers even saw the gem spawner. Heading into game 2, it's now match point for Humble. Pioneers staring down the barrel. Something needs to change.
It is now or never for Pioneers. Their year's work depends on these games, and they could be going home packing unless something happens here. Humble already. Some nice takedowns from the side of Pioneers and a break there of the mid from Juan Carlos on the back foot for the first time so far, but Semantic pushing forwards there. The accuracy onto Pain. Second there, uses the opportunity to go in there onto Luki, getting a lot of value for his time. A nice gadget as well with the tar barrel, but now they're recouping themselves on the side of Humble. Pain has got the magic hand early this time as well. Connects it to Semantic, gets the support from second. Nice stuff. Pioneers starting to make some things work.
Much better from Pioneers off the start. Second best rolls on in, getting the heals from Pain as well through this mid. Vengeful Spirits used yet again, and that's going to be his last one of this game. Over the right-hand side, we see a bit of a trade between both the brawlers over there. Semantic yet to get to a level 2, but eventually getting quite close. Luki, 5 gems in hand, does take the lead for Humble, but it seems to be all Pioneers so far. Second best round the flank, gets a knockback from the Gus shield. Good use of that from Luki. Now the pinch starts to come in, and we might see Humble break out.
The second's been feeding really quite heavily into Semantic. Now the hyper charge from Pain connects to Luki, and Juan Carlos is there. The gems with Pioneers, but a nice reset there from Semantic. It's not over just yet. They're sitting there, second just hovering, going to be going into his pocket. Not ideal, but when you're on countdown, it doesn't matter. Pioneers are doing work, but can Humble get a reset?
Semantic bringing Juan Carlos low, no more sandbags available, and second best pinned in the top portion of the map. Nowhere to run now, and the 3 members from Humble closing down. Roll goes in, but Pain's going to fall down. Semantic has the super, down goes Juan Carlos, and they have the count on the blue side. Second best goes low thanks to the Cookie Bumper, and he falls too. Humble running away with it.
7 seconds remain, and for the Pioneers it could be all over. There's a magic hand, but the HP is not going to be there. It doesn't connect, and the shield is perfect from Luki, and Humble proceed to the semi-finals.
Disappointment for NA, but an all EMEA semi-finals is lined up for tomorrow as Humble decimate Pioneers.
Oh là là.
A guaranteed EMEA placement in the grand finals has just been set. Devastation for Pioneers, who just could not find any kind of momentum on the field in the drafts. It's going to be a tough one to look back on, but you can't take a single thing away from Humble. They didn't miss a trick. Drafts were perfect, gameplay was spot on, and Humble are looking like a real favorite in this competition.
Taking the words right out of my mouth. If Humble play like this, if they draft like this, they might be my favorite to win it all at this point. That was perfection from them, but disappointment for Pioneers. What a year they have had in the NA region, coming in as the #2 seed, back and forward from late exits to big monthly final wins, but their year in 2024 ends in the quarters.
The scariest part for me is that I don't really feel like Humble felt tested at all. I feel like Pioneers could have been given everything they had and it would still have looked the same. See the stats, again, Semantic just mirroring second best the entire way through. Makes a lot of sense why he would be on the highest of the takedowns there as well. But Boss and Luki just always there for the support. And the whole squad, the synergy of everyone working in harmony, it's really very, very scary.
Very scary prospect for those looking on, and especially SK Gaming. They come off the back of a huge win against Zeta Vision to now have to look at this Humble roster as their matchup for tomorrow. Semantic, a well-earned MVP for the game against Pioneers, and what gameplay he brought to the table. So much composure, and the team in general just played to perfection.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. I was expecting some fireworks in that matchup, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to be nearly as one-sided. For Humble, they are going to the semi-finals and they are looking like one of the scariest contenders, but we've still got plenty more still to come, and that's the thing. We're shaping things up, but we're not done yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, a lot more to go through today and tomorrow as well. Still, another 2 quarterfinals to play out today, and they're both setting up to be bangers as well, but this one did end with a 3-0 to Humble. And I am scared for what they're going to be able to bring from this point onwards. Let's refresh our minds, look at the bracket. The top portion of it has been completed for today, as SK Gaming took down Zeta Vision with such a close 3-2 win to move on and play against Humble, who have just absolutely swept Pioneers off the table. Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate will be the game up next, and then we round out today with Reply Totem versus Rival Esports.
Elevate, the last standing North American team. The pressure that must be on their shoulders there. They were #2 in their group yesterday in Group A, but after watching that, they've got to be feeling a lot more pressure added to the mix. Their entire region now just resting on everything in which they do. And they've got one of the toughest competitors in this tournament.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be in their shoes.
No, NA looking on in horror, I'm sure, at that matchup against Crazy Raccoon, and obviously against Humble, 2 of the toughest opponents they could have drawn for day #2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals, and they drew both of them. Really disappointing stuff for the NA region, but let's not count Elevate out, because that is going to be one great matchup.
And as well, for Reply Totem, there's a good possibility if they play it like they were playing yesterday, that they might also be in a position of landing themselves into the semis too. We might have 3 EMEA teams there. You know, who knows? I feel like Rival have really impressed me, and especially a lot of the talent in the dressing room also. That match is still very much a 50-50 for me. This was the one that I thought would be a lot closer than it was between Humble and Pioneers. I just didn't expect that we would see a sweep here today, but you know, again, this is the World Finals. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I started the day off with a tear going down my face, as my cast predictions did not start well. I went for Zeta Vision over SK Gaming today, and it did not play out the way I thought. But for you, for Uber, and for Kenny, smooth sailing so far.
Not just smooth sailings today, might I add, but smooth sailings yesterday. 100% accuracy with us, which is a shame because, you know, being the predictions master that you are, I kind of expected a bit more.
I'm going to have to pull out some bold picks tomorrow to catch up, I'd say, because I can't catch up today. I'm going to have to go for the complete opposite of what's expected and cross my fingers. It's definitely disappointing not to see Zeta Vision go any further in the quarterfinals, because they are the world champions at the current moment until we crown a champion this weekend. So very disappointed to see them go out early on, but SK Gaming with a very deserving semi-finals entry.
I mean, that first match, honestly, like, was just one of the most thrilling that I've seen on a world stage. I mean, we were watching it from the sidelines, screaming our lungs out, and we just couldn't believe the fact that the turnarounds were even going to be possible on the side of SK Gaming. You know, toppling the current reigning champions. It's just not something that you necessarily expect to see when you wake up in the morning. Crazy, crazy things are occurring here, and it's one of my favorite world finals so far, honestly. You just can't fault it.
I mean, not to sound like a bit of a biased caster in terms of regions, but EU are looking good. EU are looking very, very good, I will say. And, you know, I'm not going to say I don't like to see it because I love seeing my home region do well.
Don't jinx it.
And also I get to, you know, laugh a little bit at Kenny and Reddy in the background and Uber as well after casting this region all year long. But they might get a bit of a bite back with Elevate versus Fraser Raccoon next. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, no, I really feel like, you know, I said from the beginning that Elevate are that kind of team which, you know, could really stumble in that first day or just struggle going into the second, but that's because this is their first world finals for the majority of them. It's just one of those things where you've got to be able to pace yourself, and they've been doing that pretty well. But it's crazy Raccoon Trap. I mean, you know, they've got the most experience by far in this matchup. I mean, we've had one immense upset today. Are we open for a second?
Yeah, I mean, like, genuinely all of the games throughout today are going to be so good, and that's the thing. Crazy Raccoon being, you know, previous world champions on their roster and a two-time champion Tensai as well really makes me scared for what is to come next. But obviously, we do have still two more matchups today. A little bit later down the line, we have that Totem versus Rival Esports matchup as well, and we touched a little bit on how well we think Rival are going to do in that matchup. Personally, I think they are going to drop down to the power of EMEA once more and reply to it and take that victory.
Well, we shall have to wait and see. Our next matchup will be Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate, the last remaining hope of North American dreams. We're going to be right back after a very short break, but you don't want to go anywhere.
The 2024 Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Incroyable.
Funny, they call us heroes. They say everything is back to normal, but they don't know how much we sacrifice to keep it that way. Some things never change. Well, maybe they do.
Ok, Crazy Raccoon. Ok les gars, faut attendre. Je reviens les gars, je vais quelque part.
Just have to do stuff.
Welcome back, folks, to the Brawl Stars World Finals for 2024. We are still cleaning the remains of Pioneers from the stage. An absolute bloodbath we saw in that second semi-final. And we're also setting our sights ahead to semi-final number 3. Crazy Raccoon versus the last hope of North America. It's going to be Elevate on the other side of that matchup. Who, ready, set, thanks for joining me, had to fight their way through that Group A with SK Gaming in the mix to get here to day 2.
It was brutal, but they did manage to take set number 1 in that series, which totally changed the tone that we were expecting out here from Elevate. Their first ever LAN as a team, and only one player on their roster that had been at LAN before. And at those LANs, well, he didn't take a single set. Yeah, and now at the World Finals on the biggest stage, in fact, on the big stage in that game, managed to take a set. So real scrappy one. Didn't take it in the end, but managed to scrape through that group stage.
Yeah, really close Group A in matchup, no matter which side that could even emerge from that Group A. On the other side of this matchup, yeah, it's Group C. The Group of Death produced a bloody, beaten, but still alive Crazy Raccoon, who have emerged, perhaps to reclaim what was once theirs, as Tensai eyes off a 3rd world champion. And Crazy Raccoon look at the bottom half of this bracket and lick their lips in anticipation.
Bloody and beaten is absolutely true, but we have to consider that these guys emerged with a 2-0 scoreline. Every single match in that group went to a 2-1 series. Luminosity, they fought for their lives but could not make it to this stage. So Crazy Raccoon, what do they get as a reward for making a perfect 2-0 advancement onto the quarterfinals? They have to face number 1 from North America.
Ah, yes. It doesn't get any easy. A trans-Pacific battle between Apex number 1 and North America's Golden Child. We're going to head down to Banks to get this one rolling.
Thank you so much, Uber. 2 teams have already been sent packing as our best of 5 show us who came prepared for the main stage. And of course, there is still more to come, namely our next quarter final. First up, a team that is looking to make a huge upset here on the main stage. It's Zeus, RBM, and Luffy. They are Elevate. Their opponent, a team that honestly needs no introduction. Previous world champions yet to lose on the main stage. Tensai, Shitampo, and Moya, they are Crazy Raccoon!
Now, this might be the first year in many years that a team called Zeta Division will not be winning the World Finals, but the previous bearers of the name are still very much in their prime. It's Crazy Raccoon here ready to throw down. And on the other side, Elevate are a relatively less tested quantity, a lot less LAN experience like we talked about here. They're a team, though, that has found a lot of success from some really great drafting.
That is really their specialty here, is they cook on these drafts. Zeus, RBM, Luffy, they are simply the instruments that are used by Killer to orchestrate all of this draft business. Let's talk about Luffy, though. I would argue one of the more mechanically skilled players on this roster, and yet I don't think he gets enough credit. I think RBM tends to steal the show for his tank play, but we see Luffy cook on brawlers, especially Rico. If he ever makes it through that draft, you got to keep a close eye on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a team in Elevate who make great use of Luffy on the Kenji, especially to craft some very aggressive strategies that really worked around setting that nasty assassin brawler up for success. Elevate, I think in their game against Foot Esports, that they let Frank through the draft, and I think they allow Kenji to be picked by their opponents. So they end up losing that first set of the series. We're all starting to worry about the fates of NA's #1 team, but they recover quite nicely. Crazy Raccoon have also had their fair share of scrappy games in the lead up to this match.
Crazy Raccoon, they have not made it easy on themselves, because I would say the typical shortcoming of Crazy Raccoon is that they struggle with some of these drafts, but to account for that, they have the best mechanics on the globe. Tensai being world-renowned for his skill over here, especially on his favorite brawler, Max.
Absolutely. When, you know, Max is available to be picked up, we often see Crazy Raccoon prioritize it. They're a team that loved a lot of Carl, loved to use Meg, even the Gene and those Gene-Max pairings. This is a team, though, who have really lent more on their individual skill. The mechanical prowess of this team has definitely been one of their hallmarks, and sometimes the drafting is left a little to be desired.
And I think that's deliberate. I think that they really think that they deserve to win if they can mechanically best their opponents. They've always sort of had this mentality, and that is why they have gained this reputation. They've invested all of their skill points into just mechanics. They are going to win this lane by dodges, by not getting hit, especially.
And again, we've seen that prowess showcased time after time. But the game is changing. Brawl Stars is becoming a little bit more about the draft as the roster of brawlers continues to expand. You all at home at event.brawlstars.com, many of you getting behind Crazy Raccoon. I believe all us casters are also on your side. This should be a game in which the APAC #1 seed could claim a spot in the semifinals.
If Crazy Raccoon had things their way, they would like to play this with 3 lanes. But there's one critical issue here on Canal Grand, which is that there are really only 2 lanes unless you play something that can float over the water. And Crazy Raccoon have already eliminated one of those key options, Angelo, not even in the consideration as a first selection out here for Elevate. We're going to be picking up that Mo.
Mo available, and you better believe it's going to be an early pickup for either of these teams. Crazy Raccoon also, we've seen Shtitampo pick that up on occasion. RT, going to be the pick from Crazy Raccoon. And note, Elevate has banned Tick and Larry and Laurie out. They are a team that likes to go for more of that tank play, not so much the throwers. Here's the Gene we mentioned earlier for Crazy Raccoon, a classic big signature approach for them so far.
Should be able to deal with any throwers that are selected over here. Also going to be gradually farming up that super, especially if you can see a lot of hits again. Get a hypercharge out here. Brock going to be a pretty unorthodox selection here for Canal Grand. Should be able to jump over a wall, maybe cross that gap in the middle. And here's the Carl. This is going to address a potential thrower selection for Crazy Raccoon. Given that they have gotten this Gene, makes it a little difficult for Elevate to deal with that. But also, remember, this is Bounty. Carl is going to be immediately grabbing that blue star and starting things off with a bang for Elevate.
This also means Shtitampo might have to consider Lamp Blowout instead of Vengeful Spirits as a gadget selection. And the Squeak being picked up by Crazy Raccoon. Of course, very powerful. That residue gadget to be able to slow within a radius is very potent.
It'll get them some vision in some of these bushes, and yes, slow within a radius on one of the lanes. And I think it will be able to play this east versus west gameplay that we see to emerge on Canal Grand pretty effectively, but keep in mind that they don't really have a good way of getting this blue star. They should be able to shove Elevate back into their bushes, but that's about it.
Here we go, folks, jumping into our third quarterfinal. It's Crazy Raccoon from APAC. Elevate, the #1 seed from North America. Only one will survive.
Elevate already grabbing that blue star as expected and transferring over to this left side. They don't want to just take one side. They want to be able to own both the left and the right and push Crazy Raccoon back into their spawn. And so far, it seems to be effective. But CR are grouping up around Moya. He's the sort of oasis of health thanks to these magic puffs that keep everyone alive.
Zeus also punished there by Shtitampo, who has comparable range and double the health almost of that Brock. Zeus takes another hit here. Luffy has to constantly be moving. You'll notice the residue field on the left side of the map there. The poke damage has been good, and so Zeus has been able to move up a little bit more. We're going to see some pretty tentative probing for the first part of this round.
Tensai's making an aggressive push in, trying to get some damage on Luffy. Takedown, but 1 kill as we see Tensai and RBM exchange. Still a 1-star lead here for Elevate, but here comes the hypercharge from Zeus. Looking for a bit of bonus damage. There's a kill on Shtitampo, and Zeus stays alive.
Slower start here for Crazy Raccoon. They do have a magic hand available. That's the Lamp Blowout used there, but not enough to keep Moya alive. Tensai wants to come in, throws a super out, but man, Elevator looking pretty good here.
Well, Shtitampo still managed to get a kill there with the Hacks gadget for RT. It looks like this right side has now been left open. Definitely a fighting chance for Crazy Raccoon to start pushing up this right side, and Tensai is going to take full advantage. Now the elevator back in their spawn, this is when the squeak actually starts to become a problem.
Zeus trying to push out of spawn. Knows he's going to take a bit of damage from Tensai to do so. Luffy gets up close. Tensai pops that hyper. Luffy won't be able to get away, but Zeus is there. 1 for 1. Tensai doubles down. Elevate still have a 2-star lead now. The last 10 seconds of the round.
Excellent tanking play from Elevate over here as RBM was reduced to super low HP, but Squeak is bound to start coming around this right side. Everyone's closed in. They got to get a kill. Oh, and a buzzer beater finish for Crazy Raccoon. A blue star victory to start this one off with a comeback.
Always dangerous to give up map control against the Squeak. And Elevate don't have a magic puffs-like ability like Crazy Raccoon do, so that poke damage sticks around a lot longer.
Once they conceded that mid area, that's when they started to seriously suffer. We'll see once again though, Luffy starting off, getting this blue star. Elevate already in the lead, they have possession of mid. Tensai's gonna try a different creative way of getting around the left side, chaining up some of these shots, but no kill.
Moya steps up, knows one direct hit would have ended Luffy, but he's able to just crawl away. Now Crazy Raccoon have bush control here. You might see Elevate opt to split the map, but they want to keep Carl within attacking range, and a rocket rain is going to break a lot of those bushes.
Zeus doesn't mind breaking open some of these walls. That can be a critical position for Elevate to control, because Crazy Raccoon had possession, even if it was for such a short duration. They're occupying this right side and leading by 3 stars at the moment. They're in a very safe position, but once they let Crazy Raccoon take control of mid, that's once again where Tensai on the Squeak is going to become a massive issue.
Zeus backing up a little bit more now. Luffy playing cagily. Does have that tail spin at the ready. Carl has everything he needs to go in and dive, but against the Squeak, that could be a dangerous proposition. RBM goes in. Chitampo disintegrates. RBM only able to find the one, but Luffy and Zeus follow it up, and Moya limps away.
He's still got that super though, so he's not looking too bad. Luffy does have a way of escaping from it. We'll see some rocket rain towards the right side. Just a preventative measure to keep Tensai from getting in. But this is history repeating itself. Game number 1 all over again. RBM's quite low on the left side. Pull for Moya, but Elevate still lead.
They're giving up the map though. Elevate are getting back towards their spawn, and Tensai now starting to posture a little more aggressively. RBM avoids most of this poke damage, but Zeus needs to be careful. He's marked up. Luffy wants to go in, slowed up, tailspin, still gets him there. Tensai is felled, an Elevate of a 2-star lead heading into the last 10.
As long as Luffy stays alive here on the back right, then all should be good for Elevate. But we gotta see Tensai on the Squeak come around and close them in. RBM looking for the close range match from the left side. Kill on the Moya, critical. Elevate, bring it back.
Right there, classic example of the power of mode. It's an easy dive to make. Getting subterranean with it and pouncing on that gene.
Once more, same gameplay. We see this Squeak gradually move things towards the back, cornering everyone in like he did in game 1. Crazy Raccoon are playing this slow and controlled because really it's their only option. But they've decided on playing this way. We'll see them also decide to swap some of these lanes over here. Tensai making a concerted effort on the right side and getting the matchup diff actually on Zeus.
Okay, Luffy still walks out with the blue star. That's the difference maker here, as Elevate have that slimmest of slim leads. Chitampo getting aggressive here, but RBM is back off spawn, and Zeus has a rocket rain at the ready. Fire at will.
Okay.
Elevate all alive and healthy here on the right, playing this east versus west that they really did not want to play. Tensai is going to be the main issue for them over here as he gradually closes things in, occupying these bushes with the gadget especially. Luffy's marked, a super in, that's contact on RBM, and for the first time, Crazy Raccoon leading in the mid-game.
This is the decider round of this set, folks. Elevate to stumble, allow Crazy Raccoon to pick up some freebies, and that's a mistake they are always going to punish. RBM does not have super up, so no all-in available here to the Mo. Luffy does, but holds the blue star and needs to respect RT's up close damage should he look to engage.
It's going to be difficult for Elevate to play aggro here because Moya is ready to punish with a pull. Luffy, same deal. He can't gadget in on Chitampo because he has that super ready to go. We'll see a super in from Zeus, but no real damage onto Tensai, especially as it's all being healed up by Moya's magic puffs.
Okay, hypercharge here coming out from Zeus. The move speed is terrifying. Tensai's down. Luffy maybe overextends, backs away and realizes Elevate have the lead already.
CHAMPIONSHIP ready to push in once more on the right side. We see the same thing happen again.
Oh, they're coming.
Tensai storming the right side. Luffy definitely pinched. Zeus trying to fire down some suppressing fire. But CHAMPIONSHIP shrugs it all off. Lane switch here with the final gadget from Luffy. It's getting desperate. 10 seconds left. RBM going for the Hail Mary play. No kill. Yes! As he pops out of the super elevate, still leads by just 1 star. And takedown on CHAMPIONSHIP. And Elevate takes set 1.
Putain de merde. Oh mais c'est ils ont gagné.
A little stumble there for Elevate in that last round, but they recover with poise. Again, it is a Mo dive. The all-in there. An unpunished trade-off kills that gives Elevate the edge, and ultimately the set.
Such a near miss too, because we saw RBM push in with that Mo and actually had to bail before he could get that kill in the drill form. He popped out using the super and then got that final bit of damage for the kill confirming. That is what kept Elevate in the lead in those final moments.
So here, this is how that first round played out. Squeak hypercharge, pretty bloody good. But Elevate here can't kill, that's their problem. They've led at this point in the game, but got completely stuffed into the corner of the map. It was a blue star difference to decide it. Then we start to see Elevate's game plan really play out. RBM goes in the dive, but he does so with full information because Zeus spends the round using every super to break the bushes on the left side of the map. So Elevate can make informed decisions about how they go for that full commitment.
They don't want to push in on an enemy that they're unaware of, especially considering that they're playing into Moya, who's pulling onto this gene pull at all times. But when it came to critical times, we didn't actually see Moya hit that gene pull. That is dangerous here for the CR squad. Look at the entire Crazy Raccoon team over here on the left side, though. CHAMPIONSHIP on this RT didn't really make too much of a difference. RT is more of a safe selection over here. It also plays to counter this Mo and also the Carl. He can't really push that RT, especially since he's going to always have that super out.
Now zooming out for a second, Crazy Raccoon, as good as they have looked, they have seemed to be more fallible than ever at this World Finals, and those are the reports coming out of the Scrimbucks exchange, what we've seen from them in their group stage, play dropping sets in both of their victorious games. They know how to play from behind, it's not been an issue. They conceded sets here and there, but eventually a team is going to come along who will punish them for every mistake so hard that Crazy Raccoon are unable to find an edge in order to get a set. This is a best of 5, so plenty of game to play, but Crazy Raccoon need to shape up.
When we saw Crazy Raccoon take some L's yesterday, when it came to the 2 sets they dropped against the 2 matches that they played, it was because they played outside of their comfort zone. They tried to play the current meta that they're not really too used to playing. Now when they play something that they're more comfortable with and it still gets outdrafted by Elevate, that is seriously dangerous territory. Right now, in this matchup of Mechanics versus Draft, it looks like Draft is winning so far.
Crazy Raccoon say, listen, we're going to ban every new brawler. All the new brawlers, not allowed. Illegal, actually. Punchable by incarceration. We have Kenji, Melody, and Mo all banned away, but guess who still sneaks through? Angelo, snapped up here for Elevate, and it's the safe zone.
He's going to be able to float over this water on the right side of the map, so he'll be immediately able to contest any pesky brawler pushing through on that right side. This could enforce a situation where Crazy Raccoon have to go for something themselves. Maybe they go for an Eve that's able to float over the water on the left side, because otherwise they won't actually have anything to contest that side. That's where the damage dealer for your squad is going to start sneaking in. We see that Colt is an entirely viable brawler here. Also note that Chuck is not actually banned. Colette is a brawler that can permit you to play this Chuck since she farms the hyper and the super off of him so effectively. So maybe that's the direction that Crazy Raccoon are gearing up for with their last pick.
Not always banned is Colette on this kind of map, but very effective, especially when your opponents are forced to defend. She cycles supers onto that safe, free damage that really can't be answered, especially if she's using mass tax to guarantee shielding should she collide with any enemy brawlers during that super. An 8-bit here, really solid mid, often see that picked up. Like you mentioned, Chuck is something that may be played around. Quite often, when you see that picked up, the opposing team realizes they might be priced into just all-inning, trying to race. Colt here is great. Silver Bullet opens up the map if they need to. He can pressure the safe down from a very safe distance also.
I see potential for this Colt to simply open up the right side, break that little 2x2 that we see right at the entrance to the mid area of this map. Also, the brawler that's going to be sent around the left side most likely, because that is the optimal position for him to damage the safe while he is still safe himself. I also see Crazy Raccoon with this Colette and 8-bit combo, that's very, very typical. Not of Crazy Raccoon, but just in Heist in general, since Colette is usually so effective into the slow, high-health brawler. Amber, I think, is a great way to respond to the 8-bit because you can actually play at quite long range against him. And the Colette, too, we're looking at comparable range. That super is going to be great at getting damage on the enemy safe. And I think Amber should be able to defend against something super aggro in the final stages because I feel like Crazy Raccoon are really thinking about getting on something that just rushes towards the enemy safe.
Well, also, Amber, crucially, very good against slow brawlers. Brawlers that cannot strafe left to right out of her line of fire easily really struggle. Bonnie!
Oh.
Bonnie?
Bonnie.
What is this? We have not seen this pick for a long, long time. Again, a virtual sharpshooter, long-range brawler with the ability with that super to dive, to go all in, but this is an odd one.
I'm not a Bonnie believer out here. What are your matchups here realistically as a Bonnie? You're outranged and outsped by the Colt. You're outranged and outsped by the Angelo. When it comes to that Amber, she's able to simply burst you down because she's still a slow brawler. Now, the one thing that she does have, though, is she has quite a lot of health and actually make that two things. She's able to jump towards the enemy safe and lock in tons and tons of damage on that objective. So Elevator are going to have to consider whether they really want to send someone on recon, put someone permanently on defense to play versus this brawler. But when it comes to actually getting that super, I think she's really going to suffer.
She's not particularly fast either.
No.
She's quite a slow brawler. Again, with the right star power, black powder, you have pretty insane range as Bonnie, which is fine. But her fire rate, she only has one shot in the chamber. Right, so she cannot simply just like send off a number of shots if you need to spam someone down. She really wants to keep you at arm's length, which, by the way, is something that Zeus and Luffy are more than happy to do. Again, it's another bonkers, Crazy Raccoon draft here. But we've seen them do more with less, frankly. And you gotta believe it's possible. But Elevate so far have been, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's. They look great in the draft on that bounty map here. This is a solid one. I'm favoring them.
Elevate draft virtuosos they may be, but I really doubt they were considering a Bonnie as a potential final selection here for Crazy Raccoon because it's so off meta, it's so unusual, and I think it's unlikely to succeed here personally. But Crazy Raccoon, this is what they do best, is they take a losing matchup and they turn it into a win by raw mechanics.
Let's go.
Here we go, folks.
Alex, allez.
Headed over to Heist for our second set. And of course, Black Powder, Star Power picked up for the Bonnie. So long range is Tensai. Definitely outranges the Amber here. Luffy again, as we suspected, will play this right side of the map with Zeus at mid. Crazy Raccoon though being allowed to move up here. Luffy trying to keep his 8-bit honest.
Luffy outranges the Colette and he plays toe-to-toe with this 8-bit over here. Zeus is really focused on eliminating Tensai on this left side first and foremost. That's going to allow RBM to push forward. And note that RBM is going to be charging up his super for free with that gadget that he placed at the back left. We'll see Tensai completely laser taken down. An even trade here for Elevate. They're still being cautious about pushing into mid. Zeus is actually getting quite aggressive though behind this 2x2, and Moya is now up to his first super.
Yeah, Zeus really wants to guarantee a hit there by basically walking to point-blank range. All right, here comes that damage. Zeus throws a super down. Damage booster still active here. Gotcha gadget used by Shitapo to try and punish this Angelo. And elsewhere, we have Tensai diving in on the Bonnie to pressure the safe.
So this is how it's going to go. Crazy Raccoon, they're going to play for that control at mid, and then they're going to send in Bonnie. She has to be addressed. Everyone from Elevate has to pivot backwards in order to deal with that. But they're really relying on Moya to be completely up. 100% uptime is what they need over here for the April.
Zeus here is a nasty angle. This is difficult to punish and dangerous for Moya to play into. RBM going to use the absence of 8-bit through mid to look towards Tensai to pressure him down. Here's Luffy, 3 safe damage. Couple of hits from Shitapo coming in though. Zeus will heal up and now look at the safe. Tensai tried to dive, but RBM on defense is able to stand.
This is brutal from Luffy. Hypercharging super in, but they cannot ignore Moya. Despite the walls being broken on the left side, it's still the perfect perch for 8-bit to lock in some of that safe damage. Elevate, pivot back to mid to play control once more. They're only ahead by 1%. They have to hold on to this control in the final 30 seconds.
Couple shots there from Tensai, but Crazy Raccoon at a lead. Zeus with a hypercharge. Moya disintegrates though. This is looking bad. Colette out of the picture as well. Dive in from Tensai, looking to deal with Luffy. Fair enough, but Crazy Raccoon safe is down to 29%.
Tensai's gonna lock himself in his back right corner where he has to be addressed. CHAMPIONSHIP in. Whoa! Denied, but the ego still hits. 14% remains and 5 seconds is not enough time for Elevate to get to Crazy Raccoon's high safe.
Rely looking very pleased with himself after that draft. Don't forget, Colette during hypercharge can be taken down midway through a super, but her ego will still go forward and back, damaging the safe. So it's basically a Pyrrhic victory for Crazy Raccoon, especially for Shitapo there.
So Crazy Raccoon's strategy here was to play for that control, then they send Tensai and CHAMPIONSHIP towards the enemy side. But CHAMPIONSHIP is more of a late game selection here. Once he has that hypercharge and the super combined, that's when he can afford to go hyper aggro. But Tensai is always going to be playing that role. Just has to get a super first, but note that Elevate are playing so much more defensively, and it's actually going to cost them. Moya picks up the first kill.
They don't have a lot of map control, and they actually switched Luffy to mid here. A position that he was losing horribly to Moya and Tensai as that Bonnie collapses through the left-hand side. Bonnie's an off-the-wall pick, but Tensai's been very, very conservative here. Taking minimal damage from that Amber, poking Luffy down when required. But Crazy Raccoon, despite an early lead, air quotes being used here,
Elevate are playing so timidly as well. They do not want to let Crazy Raccoon connect with the safe. They do not want to feed this super to Moya, but he's going to get it anyway. He's got a perfect place to put it. Actually decides to put a more aggro on the left side. It's immediately tapped by Zeus, and goodbye, 8-bit turret. That was a hyper-aggressive placement.
Already dealt with. Moya still a genuine threat in his own right, but nice bullet storm there from Luffy. That takes the 8-bit out of the equation. Zeus now wants to come forward as well, but they'll look to deal with Tensai. Nice dodge. Gets away from the Angelo shot, gets some safe damage for free. Elevate now have to answer this Colette, who's back in mid, and Zeus is forced to gadget away.
CHAMPIONSHIP barely managed to escape by the skin of his teeth over here. We'll see Zeus consider pursuing him, decides it's actually not worth it now, gadgeting backwards and allowing more room for Crazy Raccoon to dominate this mid area. They've only gotten 5% on Crazy Raccoon's safe so far. They don't really have a real way of simply rushing towards the enemy safe like Crazy Raccoon does in this body selection.
And they're running out of time too. Ready, set. There's got to be a shift here for Elevate. Okay, hypercharge super from the Colt. That evens up the game. But Tensai's within striking distance of Elevate safe. And Luffy can't do much about it right now. Zeus has to gadget away. Would have gone down even inside that super. 3% separates these teams.
Zeus is still the guardian of mid. They need to get over 3% here to take the win, and they don't have much time to get there. Moya already 10,000 health strong, ready to push up mid, has that super as disposal, gonna put it on the right side. CHAMPIONSHIP has the super as well. Tensai, he's gonna get that super on the safe. Elevate have to commit, but they cannot touch this thing, and Crazy Raccoon gets set to.
And so the sacred timeline is preserved. Crazy Raccoon able to bounce back after a pretty average first set here with a crazy pick of Bonnie coming out, and they play really patient with this really long range composition. The Colette looks great, as she always does on maps like this, and Tensai is such a nuisance. Whether it's consistent, long range poke, keeping the Amber honest, or diving in onto the safe, Crazy Raccoon always have something to keep Elevate busy.
This is what we know about Crazy Raccoon, is their preferred play style is they play 3 lanes, and this is exactly what happened over here against Elevate. They managed to draft something that enforced 1, 2, and 3 lane play, and then from there they were able to hide behind some of these obstacles, especially against Angelo on that right side. Being able to float over the water doesn't really matter a whole lot when, well, your opponent is hiding behind the wall, and Tensai punches through all of that defense. Doesn't have to play footsies with the enemy side when he can just jump over all of them.
And great DPS in general from Elevate, sure, but you've got to understand, 8-bit has about 10k health. Bonnie, close to that. Even Colette has about 7.7k health. That is a lot to cut through when your Colt is like 5.5. Your Angelo 6.3, thereabouts. So much health has to be cut through on this Crazy Raccoon roster that you can do all the damage in the water, but if you're not securing these eliminations and manifesting map control as a result of it, you are not going to win the game. Slow and steady wins the race for Crazy Raccoons. We have an even series on our hands.
We talk about health, and you can really extend that health if you're able to dodge shots the way that Crazy Raccoon are able to. When we talk about mechanics, we're saying, look, this is a 3-button game. With Hypercharge, you got more, but If your moving is bad, if your shooting is bad, turns out you have bad mechanics. That is where they specialize. Dodging the shots, landing the shots. And we see a whole lot of dodging on that Bonnie. Despite her being slow, she's sure able to survive.
Yeah, I mean, we really undersold, I think, the impact of Bonnie. But that happens very often for any analyst trying to cover a Crazy Raccoon game. So there's nothing out of the ordinary. We're off to Bell's Rock. Next, it'll be knockout time. And again, no new brawlers allowed. Kit, Mo, Kenji banned by Crazy Raccoon. Elevate, similar. Also getting rid of that pesky tick.
RT first selection once again from Crazy Raccoon. The same approach that they decided to take on the very first set, Canal Grand. On Bell's Rock, this is going to be a little bit different because your enemy has to come towards you in those final stages as the poison enforces everything coming close together. They're also facing a last pick from Elevate, a squad boasting a member in RBM that is known for his tank play. So having this RT over here that can split head from base, lock in about 6k damage in just a single attack is going to be a pretty good way of defending versus a tank that Elevate are actually gearing up for with the Gus selection.
They're telegraphing something like that, right? Won't see it until the end of their draft here. But this strategy has had a pretty average win rate over the course of these last couple of days. I think in the previous series, as of the previous series, or the start of the day, Gus had like a 30% win rate, despite being one of the most picked brawlers at the World Finals. And Zeus again wants to go for the Angelo. Again, makes sense. It is that kind of long-laned map where you can find success, but again, look pretty average on Heist.
Deviating from the plan would be a tall ask here, but we saw how that Angelo performed in the last set, and it was a serious struggle because he was trying to land those shots. It takes a long time to charge up each one. It's not like Piper where you can fire off 1, 2, 3 in a row. No, you gotta wait quite some time. And once again, I'm seeing a very similar draft to what we saw in Canal with the Gene now.
Is RBM going to pick Daryl?
I'm really thinking this is a Daryl selection.
Yep. Again, centerpiece player on Elevate, getting his first LAN win yesterday against a pretty plucky Foot Esports, one filled with veterans that always is threatening. This is the last hope for North America. Elevate here, waiting for Crazy Raccoon to round out the picks. It'll be a Rico to get them sorted.
Bit of an odd one here on Bell's Rock, considering that, well, it's a little tough sometimes to lock things in. Besides that mid lane, that's where you're going to mostly find the value here with Rico. With that Gene, also, I think it negates some of the thrower effects for Elevate, whether that's going to be viable or not. So Rico is permissible over here. We'll see Brock as a final selection for Elevate once again. So this is a sleeper pick that they pulled out on Canal. Actually wasn't so bad, but didn't really make many flashy plays out there. Didn't lock in a whole lot of kills.
Okay, so this is just a really serviceable mid to long range composition from Elevate. We've seen, I think it was Zeus playing it on Canal Grande. And we saw the Brock being able to fall back while still taking shots, making Crazy Raccoon, or at least making them think twice about trying to get that map control. All right, folks, we're one apiece in the series. Let's head to knockouts as Crazy Raccoon and Elevate look to gain an edge.
Immediate breaking of this right wall, that's going to diminish the value that Rico can get over there. No issue. Tenside's going to go over on the left side, but he's not really using these walls to ricochet off of just yet, as Zeus is dancing on the edge of his range.
Tensai here, always on any part of this map, can be a threat. Starting to see it get broken up a little bit there. RBM blowing up some of the map so he can help Luffy collapse on that right-hand side, as Moya might not give him a man-to-man duel like Yellow Eyes would prefer. Luffy backed up here on the right-hand side, marked briefly by Stitampu, who's already developed that super. Not going to be relevant until the gas starts to encroach, a situation that Elevate would like to avoid at all costs anyway. They really want to win these long-range matchups, but Crazy Raccoon have the mechanics ready to avoid getting picked off like that.
Elevate have their backs against the wall over here. They're just managing to march forward as they've healed up some of that health. We'll see a gadget in. No real value out there. Tensai now has a super ready to laser. Bit of an odd angle and doesn't get too much value off of it. Here's a super in from RBM Moya on his last leg. Zeus into the poison. Takedown for Stitampu on the top right. And a round 1 for Crazy Raccoon.
You gotta feel like that's not how Elevate want these rounds to go. They want to get pressure and turn it into map control based off their poke connecting. But Crazy Raccoon keep dodging, ducking, weaving, diving, dodging out of the way of these shots.
Elevate are simply playing Crazy Raccoon's game. This is what they specialize in. Elevate aren't really getting the draft diff. They're not able to bring Crazy Raccoon out of their comfort zone over here, and it's allowing Crazy Raccoon to actually thrive on this 1v1v1.
RBM would like to do a lot more than just keep CHAMPIONSHIP at bay, but he's just not been offered the opportunity. Zeus struggling against Tensai as Moya just trends to the left to give that Magic Puff's healing back over the Rico. Elevate need to make a play. They can't just let this round get away from them. They need to be active participants here.
So far, they still have their backs against the wall, just like in the last round. Luffy does have the utility of his super available. RBN tried to get some on the right side, didn't manage to do much. Moya is equipped with the super. That's going to be dangerous for Elevate. They don't have much health to work with, and they certainly don't have a way of escaping from a gene pole. Moya is super low, Tensai, and with a hypercharge, a team wipe as he snaps to the right side to bring home game one.
That goes horribly for Elevate. They have to use a Gust Super just to keep them alive. They take too much poke damage from the RT, and they know if there's an RT gadget used, they will instantly be eliminated. So there's no choice for Elevate to use their silver bullet just to keep themselves in the game. Luffy's got to be kicking himself after that.
There's no synergy here for Elevate on these brawlers, on this composition, because Gus, what is he really going to be used for? He has that self-preservation of the super, but typically you're going to find your value from using that on a teammate that's quite low. That's just not how we see it being applied out here. This is not what this comp is tailored for. It is a series of 1v1s over here, and so far, Crazy Raccoon are prevailing.
It's a scary science for North American fans. Elevate really need to get themselves into the driver's seat. They are currently having this match, or at least this set, dictated to them by these previous champions. Good poke, this is better. Moya under pressure. Vengeful Spirits though, staves Zeus off, takes him low, and Moya is able to avoid the shots from the Brock.
But Elevator, oh, what a gadget from Luffy. Finally, a man advantage for Elevate. A super in from RBN. There's one, there's two. Tensai, the last one alive, trying to avoid feeding hypercharge to the enemy side, but he knows it's inevitable. RBM's got it now. Luffy has his super, and Zeus also close to one of his own. Elevate are in a great position.
And that's a round one on mechanics there for Elevate. Normally, Crazy Raccoon's MO. But without a draft that is, you know, patently dominant over Crazy Raccoon, Elevate have to lean into the individual. And they have the firepower to rely on, as we just saw. Can they do it again, though?
An ambitious super in from Tensai down that right lane. You see them gradually keep RBM and Luffy back. They have possession of mid, and no one wants to push into Moya, equipped with this super. On the left side, we see Zeus in pretty much a stalemate against CHAMPIONSHIP. It's going to take shots to take him down. Zeus is looking pretty dangerously low over there. We'll also see Moya swap lanes over to the left side, trying to get a jump on RBM once the poison forces him forward.
Zeus spamming pins at CHAMPIONSHIP there. Gets him to come forward. Okay, RBM, hypercharge at the ready. It's raining rockets. CHAMPIONSHIP able to walk out. Look at that. What a magic hand. What a pick up on Zeus. RBM's in trouble now. Another Gust Super to try and keep the Brock in the fight. And RBM's going to try and come forward. But Crazy Raccoon will not be denied.
What synergy from Crazy Raccoon over here. We saw a member super low. The whole team came together to body block and keep him alive. That was into RBM's rocket fuel, meant as a kill confirm onto that brawler. But Elevate tried to get some synergy of their own, finally applying that super from Luffy for some good, putting it on RBM twice. But it didn't actually manage to do anything. And we also saw a near kill on a Tensai from Luffy there on the right side! Unexpected kill on a Zeus out of nowhere from CHAMPIONSHIP. Drops Elevate down to their final lives.
Set on the line, Elevate have to win a 2 versus 3 against, well, a combined 4 world champions on the side of Crazy Raccoon. Moya with the hyper, guarantee the pull, and it's up to Luffy now. And I don't think there's a fruit in the world that can give him the power to take down the raid bosses that are Crazy Raccoon. Pops the super, but now knows it is over. Back into the gas perhaps, and that's 2 sets for APAC number 1.
Crazy Raccoon enforcing their style of play out here, playing the 1v1s, and when it matters most, going for that synergy. But remember that this final round, even the one that was just played, was a cascading effect after a single kill that we saw from CHAMPIONSHIP on the left side.
That is often what these knockout rounds boil down to, Ready. Getting a 3v2. It's really hard to lose those if the gas isn't already basically surrounding you. And because both teams are playing these long-range poke comps that have kill confirms, right? We, of course, have Cookie Popper. We have the gadget from the RT. There are so many points of volatility. I mean, we talk about the gadget as well from the Brock. Taking one hit can be the difference between life or death.
It's precisely what we saw. We need to see the kill confirms be the valuable thing that actually locked in the round. And when it came down to Brock actually utilizing that ability, team play came in to stymie that entirely.
And I think, honestly, like that round that Elevate were able to win is a result of, I think, CHAMPIONSHIP or one of Crazy Raccoon walking over a Ghost, allowing an easy Kooky Popper pick up here. Tensai on the Rico with 6 eliminations and only 1 apiece for the entirety of Elevate. This set definitely felt like it was an uphill battle for the NA squad.
I mean, I really think that Crazy Raccoon are playing in their own dojo over here. They have enforced things to their will. They have molded this draft to go exactly the way that they want on these maps. And we focus on this as being the weak point of Crazy Raccoon. So what happens when they're the goats of mechanics and they also can bend the draft to their will? It's pretty much a playground for them.
Exactly. It's like a domain expansion from Crazy Raccoon. What will the answer be here from Elevate? They have one more chance to send this to a 5th and final set. So their Ring of Fire play will have to be centimeter perfect.
Elevate now with the first pick available, and Crazy Raccoon finally willing to let one of these new brawlers slide. Kenji now available in the draft, but Elevate are gonna have to utilize this as a 4-5 selection. They won't have the last laugh in this one, no last pick. So Kenji's on the table, Clancy, the Crab, now coming out.
Pretty good on those side lanes. These are a little harder to sort of get into the back line from, though. You can play on the right side and work around that barrel a little bit. But Luffy doesn't mind feeding a couple kills early on. If you can turn those into credits, especially with the gadget that, you know, increases his credit generation, he just needs to get to gold as quickly as possible.
And it's entirely possible for the Clancy to fall flat on its face as long as it's outranged, and Control has played Lou coming in quite early in the draft.
Okay.
Definitely a surprising one that Crazy Raccoon could choose to bring in later in the draft, but they actually managed to make it work yesterday, so why not go for it now? And Gus to play a mid over here.
The only thing separating this from 2023 is, what, a spike? that would really make it look like the comps of old. But yeah, Gus again being picked up for CR. Once more, Elevate don't get the value they're looking for out of it, but he's just such a great mid to long range brawler. The kill confirmed potential, we saw how good it was earlier. Lola will come out here. That ego really letting you fight a little bit longer on the point and increase your damage output. It's definitely what makes her such an ideal pick here.
2 brawlers from Elevate that should be pretty good in the tanks, and here's the Kenji.
Buddy.
And now either RBM or Luffy are out to play. So will it be Luffy that really stole the show with Kenji just yesterday, or will it be RBM, Team Tank Specialist, that will take the reins of the Sushi Master over here on the right side? Well, it'll maybe come down to which brawler is going to be more demanding, depending on the last pick out here. Surge going to be getting some free levels off of this Kenji as long as he is pushed.
And we've talked about, you know, common counters to Kenji being tanks, right? The Elevate's composition is already very hostile to tanks. Very high damage brawlers with decent range in Clancy and Lola, so that's not an option. Crazy Raccoon going for the Surge alongside the Gus and the Lou. It's all gonna fall down to that Surge player. Again, both teams fancy these brawlers that only get stronger as the game goes, and it's Elevate's last chance to stay alive. The hopes of NA rest on their shoulders as we jump in a Ring of Fire.
Right out the gates, Luffy aggressive around this left side, but quickly regrets his decision. He does not want to push into Moya, and he also doesn't want to push into CHAMPIONSHIP. So which is it going to be? He's just going to have to swallow that and go for it, trying to bait out some of the shots on the left side. Note that Elevate have been quite uncontested here at mid, and Crazy Raccoon are going to have to reevaluate their lanes.
Yeah, no longer can Crazy Raccoon be so aggressive to defend that left side. They're able to step up, get themselves some percentage here. RBM yet to get a hit in this game, getting his first one just there. It's an awkward spot for the Clancy to be. He's trying to get some damage. Caught inside there, Lou super stunned up. Free damage for Moya as RBM heads home with his tail between his legs.
Luffy still trying to bait out some of the shots. Another super in, and the gadget pop to Luffy. So vulnerable, but remains alive or on the left side. Doesn't matter though. Moya has already managed to farm his hypercharge off of him, and RBM on the right side is being totally denied. Note that he's also running the dash gadget for RBM. On the back left, Luffy's trying to get onto CHAMPIONSHIP. Bested by the Surge jump.
He has to respect the power shield as well because it reduces damage and helps Surge reload instantly. And then there's the super that gives invulnerability, so Luffy can't actually attack Chitapo at all there. Very awkward matchup for the Kenji. Chitapo now flashing that super as well, knows he can dodge away. Luffy has to use a gadget now, maybe looking at Tensai, who just bubbles himself. And Crazy Raccoon look indomitable on this point. Elevates, nowhere to be seen.
Crazy Raccoon, absolutely indestructible on every single lane. Elevate got a 10% lead at the beginning, and that was the last time they ever even thought about stepping on that point. The Lu, you don't want to feed it, but what happened anyway? Because of the lanes that are enforced here, there's no real home for the Kenji. For the Clancy, the first selection, they drafted themselves into a corner. They weren't really able to get any tokens farmed up and get to that valuable second level where the damage and the range of Clancy actually starts to become a threat.
Luffy's been much more proactive this time around. Chitapo still has a super. Luffy attempts to dodge it. Gadget gets him healed up, but Chitapo is chilling. Level 2 and a super available. RBM is cut down.
It's going to take a concerted effort to move CHAMPIONSHIP out of this left side. He's actually just going to do it anyway because it's fine. He got his level 3. Luffy on the back right, definitely a threat. CHAMPIONSHIP out with the gadget. Still some damage in from Luffy. And a kill. Elevate, take back control of mid. And a slight advantage. Looks like a good omen.
Yeah, Chitapo though, he's at level 4. RBM's got to be careful. Still bronze. Luffy wants to dive in, but Chitapo is basically unkillable right now. With that super available, Zeus tries to get away. Freeze frame used in order to try and play from behind that ego. Luffy's got nowhere to go. Yeah, another gadget use, and now we're an even game.
RBM still with nowhere to really go. He's outranged absolutely everywhere. He wants to get in this back right, but he's going to have to face CHAMPIONSHIP with the super as well. You see the super in from Luffy. Really no value out of that. CR looking for the next kill before they can actually move in onto this point. Nothing just yet, just playing the slow control.
This Surge, man. This Surge is terrifying. Luffy gets taken down. Chitapo benefits there from Tensai's super. So it's a very healthy Surge still. Moya pressured by RBM. Finally, the Clancy gets in there, but there's an answer. Chitapo brings the Lola down, and Luffy v Chitapo. An anime battle to end them all. Chitapo comes off second best, and Elevate have a lead now.
Tensai now approaching with the super, can get some synergy here with Moya, might need to use it. Super in, pops it on himself. Luffy with a cycled super and slices, dices, decimates Tensai. Elevate are persisting in spite of a match point.
This time though, it seems like the game plan for the Kenji is so much clearer. Act early, act often. Get up in the Surge's face, whether he's level 1 or 4. Take that fight and take one of the biggest weapons for Crazy Raccoon off the battlefield.
It's going to be difficult because Tensai is so closely guarded. He's flanked by both CHAMPIONSHIP and Moya, but if there's any time of game to go for him, it's got to be now. We saw Luffy and RBM both double stack that left lane. It improves their chances of getting something optimal. RBM playing around this 93 on the left side.
So active.
Moya is still actually lining up these shots. RBM frozen mid-dash. And an excellent start for Crazy Raccoon.
RBM though, getting those credits. He gets a little bit of the job done. Close to silver now. As Luffy steps up to the plate next, but he's half stunned. Damaged heavily. Hosumaki healing gets popped here, but Luffy has to play back behind that box. RBM has just hit silver, but Luffy's got nothing to do back there. Nice torrent. RBM gets aggressive, and Elevate finally get on the board.
What an excellent comeback here for Elevate. They've managed to get RBM almost to the gold tier. On the right side, Luffy is being quite cautious about feeding any more super to Moya, knowing how much of a win condition it can be. Luffy up to the skies. Excellent timing on that super. CHAMPIONSHIP had the damage and he had the shots thanks to the gadget.
Yeah, that power shield is huge for Surge. Now Zeus and RBM, the latter flashing his super, generate a lot of threat here on the point. CHAMPIONSHIP falls and Elevate get themselves into the lead. Hold on, we might be looking at a set 5 at this rate. RBM backs up, Tensai shields himself. Here's another sashimi from Luffy, and he gets rid of the Gus.
CHAMPIONSHIP now hypercharged all the way behind, going for the deep route. Zeus trying to dispel him, knows where he is in these bushes, but can't really contest because the fight has been brought all the way to Crazy Raccoon's side. Doesn't matter, the spawn trap is on. Zeus trying to stay alive, jump in from CHAMPIONSHIP, and completely nullified.
There it is, another super from RBM, and Elevate struggle early on this set, but now starting to bring things back. 95% and counting. A set 5 looming. Here comes Crazy Raccoon. They clear them off at 98. Luffy knows he just needs to stand here, and he does. We're going all the way.
Number 1 in A. Number 1 APAC. It's bound to go the distance. Mechanics against draft. The Crazy Raccoon have proven that they have a certain level of mastery in both of these regards. But they mechanically denied the Clancy those levels for actually quite some time. But it really, really came to head in that final game of this set, where we saw a quite quick advancement to level 3 for Clancy.
Yeah, because RBM got rid of that self-preservation instinct that was holding him back for so much of this set. Decided to come forward, feed a couple kills here and there, it was fine. Luffy was doing the same thing. Elevate around that control that Zeus was providing as Lola used their 2 laners, the 2 loose ends, to keep Crazy Raccoon more than busy enough to prevent them from touching.
This lack of self-preservation should be a key takeaway for Elevate, because if there's anything that Crazy Raccoon, especially Tensai on socials, has been vocal about, is his frustration with the meta, with the brawlers that simply run at you. Doesn't matter if they die, because they're still winning the objective. That is their kryptonite. That is their weakness. It's quite late in the game to really be discovering this, but they gotta apply that knowledge now. Doesn't matter, though, because Tensai's still picking up tons of kills in spite of the matchup he's facing.
Yeah, really timely supers coming out onto Shitampo, allowing him to win that protracted battle against Luffy. Every time the Kenji respawns, he is looking for the surge, looking to get into the bush on Crazy Raccoon's side of the map and trap them in their own spawn. It was a great recovery from Elevate. You've got to hand it to them. They, right now, in real time, before our eyes, are being forged into potential champions by this APAC #1 seed. It's the last hope for North America, and they're giving it everything they've got.
We're looking at former world champions over here on Crazy Raccoon. #1 and #2 in 2022. They combined to form a roster that seemed invincible last year, and they got a top 4 finish. This would be a downgrade from last year to go top 8. They cannot let it slip now. It all comes to a head here on Double Swoosh, set number 5.
People have been saying these demigods of Crazy Raccoon, they've been known, they've been shown to bleed, to be fallible. We've seen mistakes from them over the course of this tournament. They have played maximum Brawl Stars in every single one of their matches now. Naturally, this one, no exception. Double Swoosh coming up for our last map. Amber's open, Gene also available, and quickly, Gene snapped up.
Gene, typically a must ban on this map. The fact that it's been left open is definitely a statement here.
You got to pick Kenji, right?
Surely, I mean, into the Gene, you can't get blasted away, but he's gonna run out of those after some time.
Yep, Lamp Blowout only has 3 charges unless you have gear. Crazy Raccoon, do they succumb to the new hotness, to this new era of Brawl Stars, and pick up the Kenji here to try and get themselves into the semi-final? No, Surge is going to be the answer. They're allowing a Kenji pick potentially from Elevate. Can this be exploited in the draft?
Totally can, especially if you go for spawnables out here. Stuff that soaks up Surge's damage is going to be his major weakness. And Elevate can totally sneak up on one of these lanes, but it's going to be a tall task because Surge, as a brawler, he's slow. He's going to benefit a lot from these bushes because he's going to be equipping a speed gear out here to help him out. That'll allow him to encroach on the left side and be super, super stealthy, maybe even get a few taps off on Luffy. They're also going to pick up Tara. Oh, they know the Surge's shortcomings. They're picking up the key thing to play on the lane against him.
That is terrifying. We've already seen it once earlier today from SK Gaming. A devastating side laner with ridiculous damage at close range and a hypercharge that just makes her super bigger. It's a very good super. One of the best supers, in fact. It grabs everyone, sucks them in, especially if there's a gem carrier caught in that gravity. It's curtains for them. And of course, the Kenji, as expected, picked up.
Kenji is going to be feeding this Tara big time, though. Should be able to slash through all of those spawnables, so actually possible for Shitampo to go for a Psychic Enhancer over here, reveal all of those bushes if they find that knowledge to be quite valuable over here. Also going to be feeding that surge, definitely a dangerous prospect. So do Elevate decide to, oh, Janet is coming out to play. And Janet has some potential to also scout up the bushes because of her gadget and also a star power swap if she wants to sacrifice the time that it takes for a shot to focus in exchange for vision on those bushes when she supers.
That is fascinating. That's right, stage view will allow her to reveal bushes around herself while she is flying. Also, if she were to come across the gems somehow, she'd be dominant and be able to keep them away. Draco picked up for Crazy Raccoon. What a pick.
Definitely unusual. You almost never, ever see this. He should have some survivability against this Kenji, though. We talk about what are Kenji's actual counters? Well, in a word, tanks. But anything with huge self-preservation abilities. And in close range, this Draco can totally prevail. He has a gadget that'll keep him alive on 1 HP for a pretty serious duration against the Kenji.
Also, his super will heal him if he has the right star power, which means he can take a bunch of damage and still be a relevant threat. Elevate, have they walked into a hard counter to the Kenji? There's only one way to find out. Help from beyond cleared pretty quickly by those Janet shots. Zeus and RBM grouping up, giving up the left-hand side because they know they can't deal with Draco in the bushes.
CT Tampo also playing on this right side instead of the expected left. Zeus is going to get some scouting around the left. Definitely running that +1 to make sure he has a few more gadgets at his disposal. Knows that Tensai's coming up, but doesn't have the damage to actually dispel him, and Tensai gets free positioning.
Right, Tensai dives in, not able to stay alive, not inclined to use the last stand gadget or didn't have the opportunity. Regardless, it's Elevate now with an advantage. A slim one though, as Moya evens the score. Remember, this Tara Super can break open the bushes on this right side of the map, make it dangerous for Elevate to play there. Tensai again goes for the gadget. This time it pays off. Zeus must take to the skies after recovering some gems.
Got some pretty decent value on the CT Tampo. Luffy on the left side, definitely risking feeding super to CT Tampo, but at the same time, falls to Moya. All 7 gems on the field belong to Crazy Raccoon.
Here's Tensai in super, last stand popped as well, but Luffy's able to deal with him. A lot of map control though, given up by Elevate here, and they're behind by 4 whole gems. Magic hand on Shitampo. He does use a shield, but it's broken. Zeus able to push up now. Luffy needs to get aggressive. He needs to find Moya. Where is the Tara?
They know she's on the back left somewhere. RBM's gonna try and scout him out. No real contact. Luffy has an idea. Moya's revealed himself, but he can't push through CT Tampo on the left side unless they risk giving him a super. Luffy's gonna give it his all though. Super in, right on top of Tensai. Super from Moya at mid. RBM's still alive. It's him and Zeus, but this next gem belongs to Moya. They will be able to take down Tensai in a pinch. Moya cannot take it, and he's forced to back up.
Now map control gets pretty critical here. That's why the Kenji goes aggressive. Luffy deep. Shitampo able to use the super to avoid the damage though when RBM plays back. That's the gem that starts the countdown. RBM hooks Tensai. What a connection! But Zeus goes down with the gems! Luffy's gonna come forward now, but it's a countdown. 10 seconds left, but RBM is felled by the surge. Luffy's gonna go in, but there is no shot, no hope. And Crazy Raccoon will take the first game.
This Draco was pivotal for Crazy Raccoon. Actually spawn camped him for a pretty serious duration. And as a result, Moya could just sit back at mid, farm up some of those gems on the Tara, and he's practically unpushable in close range. As Tara, you're going to be locking so much damage when all 3 of those cards hit, and you're going to be getting super and hypercharge as a result.
Okay, deuxième.
Kenji is struggling. Luffy having a tough time trying to get through these layers of obstruction. Draco, Tara, Surge, all of them problematic to deal with. Tensai realizes not work to use the gadget there, so Luffy gets his. Boombox is annoying. Will reveal the bush for a time, which Shitampo quickly nips that one in the bud.
Look, he's trying to use his wide slash to get some damage on CT Tampo without risking feeding him super. But it feels like an inevitability. Tensai on the back side. Pretty serious damage on RBM, but the gadget expires before he can lock in the kill.
Magic hand available here for the Gene. Moya spotted there. Vision gear, of course, up. What a dodge away from that Tara super. Luffy's able to get 2 gems to his name. Tensai, though, will survive. Low, Luffy comes in with super. Tensai finds 2, but RBM scoops up the gems and gets out with 6.
Oh, pulls the shade. He went for it, but Moya had the support from beyond ready to go. Luffy's going to try and push him now, but has to be aware of the positioning of Tensai. Forced to go in, but he's got a super now. Looking for the damage on Moya. There's one slash. There's two. All the way to the back. Doesn't matter if he dies, but he still has fed the hypercharge and the super to Moya.
Hook there, CHAMPIONSHIP caught out again. Now map control for Elevate. Help from beyond pops so Moya can dodge any potential supers from the Gene. Here's Zeus lighting the map up. Tensai mostly being ignored, and Moya is down to 762. Almost catching on was Luffy, but now Tensai is a problem in that super form. Burns Luffy down. 9 gems for RBM though.
Moya's got to get 4 more gems here. He's going to go for it all the way to the back right. RBM's just out of range. Zeus trying to defend, and the hypercharge and super available for the Gene over here. Another pull. Moya at mid. He's going to have to defend Luffy. Manages to pick up the gem, but all of them spill onto the ground. Luffy with a 2-piece, and Elevator running it back.
And Elevate could walk away here with 13 gems and be secure in the knowledge that that'll be enough to win them the round. 5 seconds remain, but the zoning is too good for Elevate. Crazy Raccoon will have to let this one go to double match points.
The true distance, the absolute limit of Brawl Stars. Double match point incoming.
The harder they get knocked down, the quicker they get up. Elevate. They have grown over the course of this series, but now they're going to land the plane. CHAMPIONSHIP gets aggressive at the top of the map, but Tensai is dealing with Luffy right now. And doesn't want to pop a gadget for that, can't blame him. Elsewhere, RBM deals with Moya. 3 gems, and they're spilled. Now Luffy tries to get away. Another super. CHAMPIONSHIP has the super to get away, and Tensai has the elimination. Zeus only 1 gem, RBM 1. Elevate walk away with 2 in total.
Bad business though. Tensai managed to come around the right side. He's gonna have to be scouted out by RBM. Get dangerously close. Has the super to get bonus damage. RBM doesn't really have much play here with the super. We'll see Luffy fall on the left side to Moya, who's now sneaking up on the left. Zeus has got to find a
blowout.
Safe place to land. Tensai still alive. Luffy
got him.
Does manage to get the kill. Super in. No contact. Moya knew exactly where he was going to return.
Moya can pick up that gem there, dropped by the Kenji. Get Crazy Raccoon ahead by 1, and with 2 loose in mid. Moya will have to allow Elevate to have at least an equal game here. Janet now has the gems. RBM could go more aggressive to get that vision to line up these pulls. Luffy pulled himself into the Moya super.
Assistance required on the right side. RBM's gonna need some help with Tensai over here. We'll see Luffy charge forward. CHAMPIONSHIP now with a hypercharge. Big damage on his Zeus and onto Luffy. But Elevate all gravitate towards this right side. Tensai going for the big play. Zeus towards the skies. RBM left all alone. A little more damage on Moya. CHAMPIONSHIP looking for gem number 10. Luffy's got to contest.
He can't. CHAMPIONSHIP back over the wall. Okay, countdown secured now. Elevate lose their gems. Luffy trying to go DP, but Tensai ignores him as Moya throws down. And Crazy Raccoon, the kings that once were, will return to a world semi-finals to claim what was once theirs.
Oh les gars, on a gagné. On a gagné.
The All-Stars of Brawl Stars advance once more to top 4 for a second attempt at a grand final. Last time, they were bested by the team that took it all. Once more, they can manifest themselves into that position. Another stab at being world champions.
Speaking of stabs, Tensai on the Draco. Oh man, it was fun to watch. Nigh unkillable, literally unkillable with that super, with that gadget available rather. Elevate made it close, but a couple of stumbles. You've got to feel in that last round, they let the game devolve into a bit of a scrap fest on that right-hand side of the map. Luffy getting caught in a couple of those Tara supers. That was a big difference. You see Crazy Raccoon, they wanted to play against the Kenji. They wanted to play some old school brawl. And old school is the good school here. And Elevate just flunks the class.
Tensai over here, 10 kills for the guy. Penetrated that right side, became a massive issue. And RBM had to play an untraditional position, because typically it would be around mid. He is the mid brawler, he is the gem carrier, but he couldn't safely reside in that area with Moya and Site Tampo alternating between that left side where he's so vulnerable to being flanked from the bushes. So on that right side, he's now forced to lane against Tensai, who has simply too much health for him to really face.
And let's throw it back to the draft here. It's a Gene pick straight away from Elevate, right? That's their first. Their Surge picked up for Crazy Raccoon. They know they let the Kenji through the drafts. And my goodness, how scared must you be of the Draco and the Surge if you are picking a Janet to try and reveal the right side of the map with that boombox? A very unorthodox pick here, and you can see Elevate were looking for options because they felt like in a pitched battle, or if they walked into those bushes, there was no way they were going to win.
We saw situations where Janet was actually using the super instead of for scouting to just escape, especially against a 1 HP Draco that was such a serious threat with that gadget. We saw numerous situations where Draco's looking to pick up a couple of kills here and only fell at the final couple of moments there. That is how much of an issue this selection was for Elevate. And we see Crazy Raccoon, despite their complaints about how this is going as far as which brawlers are most powerful, they're not too good for it at all.
I mean, they play Draco. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not really old school, in fairness. But what a game we get. We start off the day with a 5-set banger. This one was no different. But now we must bid farewell to the final remaining North American delegates here at the Brawl Stars World Finals 2024, leaving only APAC and EMEA as the regions left to fight for it. And my goodness, that battle between Reply Totem and Rival Esports could set us up for EMEA versus APAC finals. If Rival can make it through, that is a big if. That if is doing Olympia level lifting. But we have an incredible game on the docket still to look at here. Real quick, what are your thoughts? Reply Totem, Rival Esports has been a crazy day.
We see Reply Totem just barely make it to the stage, the last seed in EMEA, make it all the way through LCQ against Rival Esports, a huge underdog in their match yesterday, managed to trounce their EMEA competitors, and they can look to do it again.
Crazy Raccoon have survived the quarterfinals once more and awaiting their opponent. It's going to be Reply Totem versus Rival Esports to decide our last semi-finalist. One more match for the day for the Brawl Stars World Finals Day 2. Don't go anywhere. It's bound to be a blockbuster.
The 2024 Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Once upon a brawl, a new evil emerged. A handsome young minstrel who once charmed crowds, now fallen to darkness, his smile but a shroud. A mischievous feline, known for his cute paws, now a master thief, unlocking chests and doors. A healing guitar and a friendly face, now a flaming skull, kindness gone without a trace. A delicious cookie baker, one of the best, now a haunted castle, a ghoulish guest. This automaton once served juice, now with his sword your head he'll make loose. A knight turned into a nightmare, Nani and Peep now only want to scare. A fairy tale ending? No! A scary tale beginning!
To the Brawl Stars World Finals. We're gearing up for our final match of the day. But Trav, what an incredible journey it has been to this point. 2 games that have gone the distance and just had my heart in my mouth. What did we just witness? It's the end of any hope, but I mean, you've got to hand it to Elevate. For 2 out of the 3 to have their first World Finals and pitched against Crazy Raccoons to come that close. Unreal.
Yeah, no, Elevate absolutely played their hearts out and provided some unbelievable gameplay. So sad to see them knocked out here in day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. I really, really wish we could have seen them go that little bit further.
It could have been, honestly, another incredible upset for day 2. We've already seen the world champs go out on the first game of the day. It's just been the gift that keeps on giving. 2024 is at an all-time high.
It really is. Like, it's been so dangerous, and, you know, we're not stopping there. We've got another absolute banger up next where APAC, I say after APAC provided that kind of gameplay, they better hope that they get another representative a little bit further on, otherwise they might be having some issues in that region as well as NA, but they are obviously up against Reply Totem, which is such a strong matchup.
It's set to be a massive banger for me. Certainly Reply Totem are that team which have just had a really, really abysmal year, but they are now at a really, really strong place. And similar to SK Gaming, I've got to say, they've got a lot of loud voices in their crowd. They are that momentum team, and they've got people cheering for them.
Yeah, these EU teams have had such a strong showing from their audience, from the audience in general, I will say, because they just have so many representatives, fans who come out and support them, and you don't understand until you're on that stage how far that can go. Having the backing of the entire crowd really gets you through those tough moments, motivates you through the hard times, and it is a big, big thing for both of these teams to have as backing.
In terms of our predictions, so far, so good. I mean, we differed a little bit, but I think that first match was very much a 50-50 though, Trav. I mean, I didn't blame you for it.
We almost just got another loss handed to all five of us, I will say as well. A double match point from Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate as well. Luckily enough for us at least, Crazy Raccoon did manage to pull through. But me and Ready Set, we started obviously with the Zeta division, which didn't go our way. But generally, that could have gone either way. And so could that last game as well.
I have yet to get a prediction wrong. Just putting that out there. Uber, I think, very much as well. This is where we differ as well. Uber's been definitely, flying the Rival Esports banner since we basically arrived in Helsinki, Finland, and I didn't blame him for it. I was certainly there yesterday, and didn't quite get to catch the games themselves, but nonetheless, I think this squad have got something special. They could cause another huge upset. We know what the EMEA region can bring to the table. And for Rival Esports, going back to 2019 with Milk Rio, I mean, we really are going back in time somewhat in this match.
We are. I mean, Rival Esports, they've had they've come in second seed from the APAC region, obviously only being topped by the Crazy Raccoon roster that we have just seen. So they've been, pretty consistent to be able to get through to this through points. Reply Totem, not the same story. Came 6th in EMEA, only just squeezing into the LCQ spot. They've been pretty smooth sailing from there, I will say. Had a few hiccups back and forward, obviously throughout the year, not making qualifications and going out early on. They had that one monthly final that really pushed their points up and got them in the position to get where they are now, to bring this incredible, incredible matchup. It's either going to be another EU representative in the semi-finals to make that 3, or APAC are going to have an APAC semi-final as well as a European one.
Melting Shoe, this is their first World Finals for Milk Rio. This is his third, and I've got to mention as well, Reply Totem's set win percentage is abysmal. It's the lowest of any team in the World Finals at 27%. It was definitely a rough year in the monthly finals streaks. They went out in the quarterfinals 3 times. They didn't qualify for a monthly final. That grand finals victory, which they got, I've got to say, I say every time, it absolutely saved them. But as you rightly say, the LCQ was far better for them. Being able to really get some fantastic results there and knock out Tribe Gaming. I mean, that really was a commendable feat, and we didn't necessarily know how they were going to fare yesterday, but they looked really, really good.
I mean, it is one of the main selling points of Reply Totem. That's the whole thing, right? This LAN experience. I saw Reply Totem, Chaos alone has like 19 LAN appearances, qualified to all 6 World Finals, attend 5 of them. So him alone has accolades to rival any pretty much team to completion. But, add Maru, add Mori to that, and they are just that really well-rounded roster when it comes to LAN events.
And in terms of the drafts, we were quite surprised yesterday when we kind of saw some of these brawlers that we hadn't seen for a long time coming out of the woodwork, bringing in Maisie. We were like, whoa, what's going on here? And it actually worked out phenomenally well. So, I mean, you've got to bear those things in mind. The draft is so instrumental to victory. We've seen that today, and how teams can topple and falter when that's not quite in place. For Reply Totem, when you look back through their year and the struggles which they've had, to now be coming in at what I feel is their best performance to date, it's very commendable. But for Rival Esports, they are an underdog somewhat, but I think actually Reply Totem on paper should be the underdog in this story. And that's not been the case from what we've seen. I think for Rival Esports, for many that have not really been following their journey this year, they're not necessarily looking like the hot one in this prediction, in my opinion. But I think they could surprise many of us, and this could be one that goes all the way to a 5th and final set.
I do think it will. It's a 50-50 matchup in my eyes. Rival Esports yesterday against Eternal Fire especially was so good, so strong, managing to sweep them quite simply, I will say as well. Not really that much resistance from Eternal Fire in that one matchup. So Rival Esports, if you just look at the regular seasons, as you say, you'd expect them to come into this one as the favourites. But you've got to look at the LCQ run from Reply Totem. They're dominant against so many teams and had an amazing day yesterday.
We can take a look back as well at how today is fared in terms of the bracket to revise the memory as well, because honestly, if you are just joining the stream, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but we are approaching our last match of the day. Going back to the very beginning, it was Zeta Division, the world champions, who fell to SK Gaming in two incredibly clutch back-to-back bounty moments. Honestly, one that I will look back over time and time again. That made Brawl Esports history for sure. Hummel versus Pioneers though, Trav, that was a complete stomper.
Yeah, it really wasn't that close at all. Hummel had the drafts, they had the gameplay, they had the mentality, everything went right for them and everything went wrong for Pioneers. But I've got to say, that SK Gaming versus Zeta Division has got to be the best, or at least my favourite game of the day. I'm sure you'd probably agree, looking at it from a standpoint viewer perspective, as we both were, but that last game was incredible as well.
It's just been such an enjoyable day, and it's great that we've still got one more match to come. You can hear it behind me. The crowd is starting to go wild. Let's head over to Banks to introduce the teams.
These matches are separating the men from the boys here at Superfest, and this next match is your last quarter-final of the day. So with that being said, Superfest, make some noise! We're almost getting there, it's nice. This next match will decide the lineup for Championship Sunday. So, first up are your dark horse of the competition, securing their spot in the quarterfinals with a victory over Eternal Fire. From APAC, it's Milcrio, Melty, and Shu. They are Rival Esports. Their opponents are an EMEA powerhouse with 4 World Championship appearances. It is Maru, Mori, and iChaos. They are Reply Totem!
Well, Trav, the final match of the day. The number 6 seed rather in the EMEA region, going up against Rival Esports, the number 2 in the APAC region. This is going to be a spicy one. There's no way around it.
It really is. I mean, a quarter of the entire crowd alone are chanting for Totem Esports, possibly even half back there as well. They've got so much support behind them, and the same can't be said for Rival. They've got a few fans dotted around here and there, but this is setting up for it to be a Reply Totem win if you're listening to the crowd.
When you've got that much support behind you and everything you do is cheered upon, it's got to count for something. With Rival Esports, certainly a tough one ahead of them. For Milcrio, going back as far as the 2019 World Finals, where he gained second place with Animal Champuru, just coming shy of that Nova Esports victory. Of course, for him today, I'm sure many memories coming back to mind as well, that it was not so victorious going back to 2020, where they exited in the quarterfinal stages as Jupiter before they rebranded to Zeta Division. That was his last World Finals appearance. So to join this squad, for those that have got their first World Finals appearance here today, he has the most experience.
Yeah, but he's an absolute character as well. When he was walking out just now, I'm sure you guys saw it as well. He was like doing some really odd walkout, a lot of energy behind that man, and that alone can motivate a team in itself. When you've got the front man, and I hate to mention them here, Tribe Gaming, when Zulan starts stepping up, the whole team does as well, and that might be the same for Rival Esports with Milcrio. But Reply Totem, let's focus down on this roster. We've talked about them a lot already. Maru, iChaos, and Mori, 3 incredible players and absolute land demons.
For iChaos as well, this will be his 5th World Finals. And no surprises there that his favourite brawler is Rico, because that is really one that I feel like Rival Esports might be looking to ban. And if they're not, they probably should be, because it's one of those select picks that you've just really got to keep your eye on. He finds every single angle imaginable. For Maru, this is their 4th World Finals also. They are very accomplished in this position and very comfortable as well. going into the LCQ, big question marks as to how they were going to be faring, in all honesty. Just really looking quite bleak. They've just been really taking it to the next level ever since then, and they've kind of yet to slow down in that regard. That's a scary prospect for Rival Esports.
And a big one for the caster predictions as well. I believe it's only Ark or Uber who can go flawless today and yesterday, and they have differing opinions. Ark is obviously going for the reply totem side with the rest of the casters and the public. But Uber staying firm with his Rival Esports pick that he's been singing the praises of all weekend long.
There is a lot of tense feeling here on the casting distance, I'm sure, no doubt, there on the player podiums. The crowd setting themselves in for what is set to be an absolute spectacle. The Reply Totem fans, they're about to blow the roof off this arena.
Yeah, we can hope for just that. Reply Totem settling in, and the same with Rival Esports. Neither side looking too nervous at the moment, but when the gameplay starts, I'm sure things do start to change. A couple of mistakes here and there can definitely make that mentality waver just a little bit, and the slightest mistake will cost you the team, will cost your team a World Finals semi-final. In terms of predictions, it was 63% to Reply Totem, 37% to Rival Esports, so not that far apart. But we're starting things off in center stage in Brawl.
I think, to be honest, not a unfair prediction, actually, for Rival Esports. I feel like they've got a lot to show, and no doubt will dig deep when it comes to these drafts. Quite a balanced one, I feel. As we go in to center stage, the band's already in for Reply Totem, the Stu, the Nita, and the Otis. For Rival Esports, they do not want the Kenji or the Frank or the Mo. I think we've kind of seen far too much of Kenji slipping through this weekend, so I don't mind it at all. Certainly though, the Rico is open with the vision gear as well. We know it's going to be a sort of Reply Totem idea. The Clancy first pick. I kind of prefer the Surge myself, to be completely honest, in this scenario. Certainly for the side of Reply Totem, they're looking to have that kind of tank counter in play. Gale as well, another big one open here. You see, yeah, I would kind of side more so with that idea.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, they're two very similar brawls if you think about it, with the leveling up mechanics. Once you get to level 3 for Surge and obviously level 3 for Clancy, you're going to be playing on pretty level playing fields. But we do see the Squeak roll in after that as well. With the Fat Splatter, you're able to kind of slow things down, scout out the bush, and see where opponents are if they do choose to walk through this grassy area. But as you said, there is the Rico for Reply Totem, and something that iChaos is very familiar with.
Yeah, it's a solid pick, and the question now is, do Reply Totem bring in something tanky? Because they would be doing it into the eye of the Surge. The Squeak would be able to shut down that left or right-hand side and just allow Rival Esports to really focus their attention entirely on that side and see the slip through. They're going to go with Rosa. That is a daring choice, but in the hands of Reply Totem, they do play some fantastic tanks. I was kind of surprised it wasn't the El Primo myself.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, with Maru on that brawler, you never know what's going to happen, but Rosa, you know, pretty similar. You're going to be able to play the kind of short-range brawls and have the shield to be able to walk in as many goals as you'd like. But over the other side, we still have one pick left for Rival Esports. It's going to have to be a good one to be able to counteract these tanks in this absolutely amazingly well-rounded roster that Reply Totem have brought to the table. But it is going to be Gale, a bit of a tank counter in there as well. Add that to the Surge, and Rosa's going to be having a hard time.
I love it. I really do love it. You know, Gale was wide open from the beginning, but there was no reason to necessarily go into picking it. But that Rosa was not kind for Reply Totem in the way that the coin toss landed with things. It just left a good counter option for Rival. Now that you've got the Surge and the Gale into that Rosa pick, I feel like the Clancy needs to really pop off early on, try to get those stacks as quickly as possible, get the additional range, the additional speed, and of course that additional shot factor in the thick of things. The gadget there, the left-hand side, already making some good work of Reply Totem, but Maru has pushed forwards. A good gadget there from Melty, but look at that slow. The unfriendly pushes off the Rosa just left. Rival Esports so susceptible to damage. And look at this, pushing the ball forwards, and he's taken a great twister, and Maru can't get the ball.
What a stop, but now that's gone, and Melty is back, still level 1, passed the ball to himself, a little bit of a mistake in there as well, wasting some ammo, and Maru will clean that up quite nicely. Not too much pushback from Rival so far, as Reply Totem seem to have all control of the map. A super available over the right-hand side from Morian, already leveled up once as well. Not the best of starts for Rival Esports, and things need to change. What a super from Chaos! We said watch out for it, and this is why!
Look at this! A complete and utter team wipe, but it should be a straight, easy walkthrough. Maru will score it. Reply Totem making light work in the first minute.
Melty needs to get these levels up and get going because Maury's already doing just that, and Maru decimating the opponents along with Ikeos. Slow comes through with the unfriendly bushes. Vertical jump from Melty, which was baited out by Maru, who now gets hypercharged and powers on. Surely going to be able to get the kill, the pass up, and that is going to be game one to Totem.
Very strong opening stuff from Reply Totem. They got a game, and they've got the crowd, most importantly, firmly behind them. Let's see whether Rival Esports can build up some kind of a response here. Start to have something more of a back and forth. It looked a little bit too easy. We said coming in, to be honest, that Chaos should really have been shut down on that Rico pick. Rival Esports left it wide open, and they're probably regretting that right now.
Punished for just that. Rival Esports needs to start picking things up. Into the game we go once more. Shu picks up the left-hand side, pretty much already better than the last one. Slow in there as well. A pass up to Melty, might be able to get a goal. Opening for Milcreo, and this should surely be a walk-in. It's the Clancy respawn. He stops it!
Maori!
What a defense from Maori. Beautiful stuff, and Rival Esports started better, but still nothing back from it.
The Classy just decimated the opportunity, and now the ball pushed back, and it's Rival Esports that have got to defend this. Maru going in with a nice super, the perfect time for it. He gets Milgrio, he might be in a good spot, but Shu coming in should clear that one up. Maori and Ikeos, though, can scrutinize this right-hand side, keep Shu low, and don't feed anything more into it. You do not want to get your Gale having hypercharge on that defense.
Well, Super comes in from Squeak and a dash away from... Oh, great knockback, though, from the Gale. Pushes him straight onto that slowing effect of the Super. Twist used by Shu to stop him going for him, but Ikeos leads up shop. Maru's there for the pass to the mid. Or goes it himself, and Totem take another goal.
The thumbs up from Ikeos. It's a rarity in Brawl Esports, let's be honest. But for Reply Totem, they've yet to drop the ball. Mario pushing forwards, gets that landed in his lap, getting a lot of scrutiny and fine. Shu taking care of the pass, it's perfect, but the takedown is there. Melty came in clutch, and now has got an opportunity to be able to get this super shot, and he doesn't fail to miss. He gets the angle and secures it.
This is what Rival Esports need to do, take advantage of the security that Reply Totem think they have, which they do not. Great super from Chaos once more, brings Milcreo so low, and might be another chance for Reply Totem to wrap up the set just as quick as this. Melty has to jump back to evade Maru, but still the rest of the team's there. Wanted to go for the trick shot, but thought better of it in the end.
Melty's going to go for the hypercharge, but not the best of times. He was not on the max stack side of things, and it's meant that it was kind of depleted somewhat. Reply Totem now getting themselves geared up. They know they've got 15 seconds before these walls come down. They want to stay firm and get a grasp of the situation. Chaos is low here, got to heal up somewhat in these final seconds. As Rival Esports respawning back in, they know they've got a big task on their hand. Maru's going to go early. There's a beautiful hypercharge there from Shu, and Rival Esports are going to be running away towards the goal.
Surely going to be sliding this one. It doesn't have the ammo to do it. Baits out the super from Maru there as well, but the rest of Rival Esports joining Shu up top. Milcreo can't grab the ball, and Maru might be able to play this one back into the hands of his teammates. Back safely into the corner, and a Rival Esports chance quickly dissipated.
Melty is lurking. His full stacks on that surge. Maori low on the right-hand side. Maori with the full HP of that Rosa pick, trying to force things back, but like Chaos falls, Maori's weak and weary. It's going to be down to Maori on this left-hand side, and it's not going to be enough. Maori quickly taken care of. Chaos tried his best, but he wasn't enough. And Rival Esports put one on the board.
Answering back in the best way. Some more confidence coming through from Rival Esports, but Reply Totem still seem to me at least in control. The map was pretty much covered by them for the entirety, but a couple breakaway goals for Rival Esports bring it back even in set one.
Again, that residue on the left-hand side, forcing Totem to the right. Now Chaos back, and friendly push is connecting there with Shu as well. As Melting that right. Milcreo, a second gadget there from Maru as well, and it gets an equal effect. Will stop the healing most importantly as well. On the side of Rival, Melty did well on that right-hand side, and it's Maori now who's weak, and like Chaos pushing the ball forwards. I think it's the right play here. Like Chaos just trying to get that pinch between himself and Maori to get Melty, who survives on 76 HP.
Not going to get the kills as Maury and Chaos both survive. Maru coming through now, and Melty has to jump on him, but that might be a waste, and that's surely level 3 gone. But he picks up the left-hand side and stops the pass through. Shu's there to defend, but Maori almost level 3 in under a minute. Just a few more shots and he'll be at that stage, evading a few shots from Surge now, but scouted out by Shu eventually.
Milkro has the chance there to use another gadget, but he's holding back for now. Shoe falls. Now the super connects, but it doesn't really find much of the chaos. He walks into it, if anything, 68 HP for Milkro. And Totem just going to slow down the pace yet again. They want to make sure they land the mark as Maori now max stacks on this Clancy, and he's dangerous, as is Chaos. Hypercharge going in, he finds one. Milkro's the second ball, and it's a complete team wipe for Reply Totem. A goal, and only 1 minute remaining.
Chaos does the job once more, but here comes the hypercharge from Melty. Might be able to find a few connections. One available from Maru as well. Unfriendly Bush is used, slowing a couple of the rival members in their tracks. 55 seconds to get the job done. Melty slowed down by the hypercharge of Rosa. Now the super comes through from Mori in this level 3, providing so much value.
Melty under scrutiny. Maru comes in at the perfect time. Oh, what a pitch between Maru and iChaos. Shu, a nice knockback and buy some valuable time, but it is rival that are still behind. They've got to get out of this spawn. They've got to get out of the map, get some takedowns and the goal in 30 seconds is a lot to ask.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it. Super going to be missed there on the left-hand side from Milcreo too. They need to push out on Maru, who's there waiting for them. Twister Use blocks up that avenue, but Chaos picks up the mid. Now leaves it in a 2v3, and Shu and Milcreo have got a lot of work to do, especially with Maru straight in the face like this. 14 seconds. I just don't see how this is possible for Rival Esports, but Shu's going to try and fail. Melty the last option with level 3, but it's not going to be enough as Reply Totem secure the first set.
The air is electric. Reply Totem fans rejoice for the first set in the bank. Rival Esports just didn't really seem too connected in that instance in Brawl Ball. They just felt like they were behind for the majority of things. A couple of breakaway goals in that second game, but an important set to win for Reply Totem. That early momentum is surely going to be very much now in their favor. A lovely shutdown there from Maori. That Clancy pick really proved to be a valuable defensive measure for them. But a lot of the time, for me, it was all about that control. And Chaos really finding that element with that Rico pick. Kept the pressure on time and time again. A couple of instances there, of course, where Rival had their moments. But Reply Totem, for me, looked like the stronger of the two in that first set.
Yeah, they really did. They had so much control. And every time Chaos got a hypercharge, Rival Esports members were dropping like flies. Just absolute dominance. And, you know, I'm sure they probably got heroes, but we warned them about it. And I'm sure they're well aware themselves. Big DPS, big kills out of Reply Totem. Rival Esports not able to match that same energy, as they were pretty much pinned in the spawn for the majority.
I mean, Chaos got 2 kills more than the entirety of Rival Esports' kills combined. That says to me a big story. 354 HP as well. I mean, literally coming into the match, said, you got to ban a Rico if you're looking down the barrel of iChaos. And look at that. The results spoke for themselves. I mean, I could shout a bit louder, but I don't know whether it will help.
Yeah, I think they kind of probably well aware of the iChaos Rico, but maybe just didn't take it into account, thought they could handle it, and I'm sure they'll be thinking better of that idea now. We're going on to Kaboom Canyon in Heist as the second set. Will Totem extend their lead, or will Rival Esports close that gap and make it 1-1? Heist is the game mode we will be doing it on, so we'll see if that aggression from Reply Totem is going to remain and win them this second set.
Certainly, for me, a tough game mode to have as your second set. For one that you've got in the bag already on the side of Reply Totem. You can get a bit overzealous, a bit overconfident. Heist can be brutal. The bans being the Bell, the Crow, and the Amber. I like that Crow ban, I've got to say. The Mo, the Angelo, and now the Clancy coming in as the first pick from Reply Totem. The Colette ban, love that as well. 6 individual brawlers out of the mix. Clancy could be quite risky, it must be said. I think a good deterrent though, however, of the chuck potential. That might be where they're thinking with that idea to have something solid on a defense, but certainly, if you're left in that lower stage of Clancy, you really are a bit of a sitting duck and open to a lot of ranged ideas. Colt, for me especially, a big heavy hitter. Gale jump pad strat into the middle of the map, potentially here coming through, and a good heavy tank counter for Rival Esports. Don't know whether I'm a massive fan of it myself.
Yeah, I'm not loving that from Rival Esports, I will say. The Lola adding to it as well, going to be able to bring some good DPS and the ability to tank some shots. from the glance as well with that ego and freeze frame if that's what they choose to go with. But the Gale, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not feeling it too much. It's going to work. It's fine. It's good against tanks. It's a good preventative measure. But Reply Totems still have a long way to go through their draft, and they can just pivot of any ideas they wanted to go with tanks. They're going to go with the Piper, and I mean, that's going to be pretty good against the Gale. Once the ego's down, Lola might have some legs, but in the early game, Piper's going to thrive.
Tough to play into the Lola though as well with the ego. You know, certainly if Reply Totem can break that mid early on, and that Lola's going to have a great time with the vision gear, obviously, as a result of that pick from the side of Rival Esports. So I think for the side of Reply Totem, they're going to want to open up as much as possible, but with Kenji now,
into the game,
it's going to be very hard to make it work. I mean, certainly, I think a couple of these brawlers may be counteracting one another. That's a brawl that I much prefer. I'm starting to side more with Rival Esports here. I think that Melody pick was the one that maybe Reply Totem should have considered a bit more. We haven't seen the best of win rates for Kenji on Heist, and it's one of those brawlers that, yes, it is exceptionally good, but is the best mode for it on Heist.
You know, it kind of seems like Reply Totem going to be banking on the Kenji assassinate a lot of these brawls and getting the real kind of tickle-down damage that Piper's going to do to the safe, whereas Rival Esports have the Melody available and can go to that safe and get damage along with the Lola as well. Already, Melty on 800 HP and Mori getting some good shots towards those stacks. Maru walking in a straight line towards the safe and Milk Rail alike and gets a bit of damage in. Gadget going to be used, but Melody should be there to be able to assist. Super used, gets some good shots and actually picks up the kill too.
Staying in position for Maru, so important, and healing up now, allowing Chaos to get some good taps from the mid onto the safe. Rival Esports trying to scoot on through on that right-hand side. Shu just juking, trying to connect with the safe. Now finally on it. The damage coming through. Just a little bit though, just 10%, but not done yet. Now Milkrew, now Melty. This is starting to flow. Maru needs to come back in this scenario.
Yeah, I love the base race idea from Rival Esports. Just a shame for them that the Melody couldn't live a little bit longer with the help from the Gadget. Nice push back there, gets damage on both Mori and Maru. Chaos, the only one healthy, and here come Rival. Big damage rolling down. Shu needs a super to be able to add some to the mix, but Lola does enough herself. Good little knockback there with the auto-aimer of Chaos. And Shu shouldn't be far off some more aggression with only 39 on the safe. This could be done with one more Rival push.
Totem fans are starting to rise up. It might be enough. Let's see. Chaos needs to tap here realistically here. Shu coming in with a nice amount of HP, decimated by the bombs that Chaos is leaving. But look at the damage raining down. The Reply Totem safe is on 18 HP. They need to go on the aggressive, but they've got to clear up these scrap first. Melty down to 800 HP. Maru going on the aggressive. There's so much more still needing to be done.
There goes Shu again, no gadgets left to just get taken down. A lot more needs to be done on the Rival Esports safe. Melty just launch pad and up, says goodbye to Maru, drags him back, gives a little bit of time for his teammates to come back into this mid, but at the moment, they're not able to do so. Shu needs a super, needs that escape route, needs to be able to get up the map, but at the moment, no one on Totem's feeding it.
30 seconds. This needs to be very calculated for Totem. They cannot drop a beat here. One takedown, Shu low on the right-hand side. They've got to find him. They've got to get on their safe, get the damage they need. Milgrio is still staying on that left-hand side. It's being a menace here. At the moment, Rival Esports are in a fantastic spot, but they've got to hold firm on this defense.
Yeah, I mean, 14 seconds, Shu was thinking about going in, but thought better of it in the end. Now he goes in to try and stop them and bring them back. Does just that. 8 seconds on the clock. I don't think they've got the time if all three of them are on the safe. Never mind, none of them. As Mori gets pushed back, and Chaos can't find anything. Rival Esports take game one of Safe Zone.
Signs of life then for Rival Esports. The heart is still beating. And with this heart, there's the potential to bring back a set and level out the playing field. Let's see whether the Reply Totem have got what it takes to bring this set to even, because that was much, much better. The melody of Shu really was a problem and a thorn in their side.
Yeah, Gadget wasted by Maru there. Is he just kind of have trickle-down damage now? Shu comes in, has some notes around him as well. Gadget used, gets a decent bit of damage. And kind of the flip of what we saw in the last one where Reply Totem started so strong. Maru really not having the best of times against Melty or Milkrew as they keep on kind of peppering down this shield that he does get. Now the pin comes in, Melody might be able to get a few shots and finish him off here. Gadget not going to be used just yet and does go down. Shu now has the super and Rival Esports firmly with a grip on mid.
Shu coming in yet again, but good stuff from Reply Totem, getting the job taken care of. The damage, though, still very much against them. They've yet to make a scratch on the Rival Esports safe. The scale pad It's just keeping them on the defense, but Melty's low. Milk also, this could be the time to strike. But again, Chaos struggling against this Lola pick. It's really causing a problem. The Ego just taking a lot of these shots.
I mean, the fact that Shu can do this and just run up the map and try and escape does really nice job. Mori solo, he's going to choose to go for the save. Chaos jumps back, gets picked up as well, and Shu's still surviving, gets another, and Rival Esports running away with it. Maro goes down too, and the damage pours in.
Phenomenal stuff from Rival Esports. We're just making this look very, very comfortable. Let's be honest, Maro goes in, but Shu still stays standing. They really are struggling to take care of business now. They've only got 9% damage. This is not good enough for Reply Totem.
Shu, super in hand once more, wants to go straight through the middle. What can Chaos do? A couple more notes of damage on the safe, brings it down to 9, but Chaos starting to tap that safe. Now gets one on Melty too, opens up a bit of an avenue for Maru, who he wants to take. Mori, level 3 on the right, on the left-hand side, but Shu comes through, jukes a few shots beautifully. He's just buying time for Rival at this point. And with Kenji down, or at least up top, Melty has the hypercharge on the left, and this should be all Rival.
Yeah, Melty now pops the hypercharge and pushing his way forwards, but getting tapped up big time by a cast. Shu still stays standing! And for Rival Esports, they gain back a set! And we've got a player still on our hands!
The Rival support waking up. The sound of them winning a set was enough to get going. We have a game on our hands as Reply Totem drop this second set of Kaboom Canyon to Rival Esports, and the score is now even. What started as a very dominant Reply Totem series is quickly gone the other way.
We were saying coming in, we weren't overly convinced the Reply Totem draft. It's very hard to keep up the aggression that you need and the consistency that you need when you've got that combination of that Gale jump pad plus the melody for me. And Shu was the shining star, playing the objective, being an absolute menace, and no surprise there as to why he's got the most kills on the board. His teammate's pretty low actually for the most part. I mean, lower than anyone on the side of Reply Totem. But again, it's all about that objective play despite the high DPS there of Chaos. It wasn't enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, commendable performance from Chaos there. 370 DPS with the sharpshooter of Piper. Really nice stuff from all members of Reply Totem. But as you say, Heist, one of the most objective-based game modes that we have in Brawl Stars. And Shu played that to perfection.
It really was wonderful, wasn't it? You know, just kept Reply Totem on that back foot time and time again. And, you know, it's all well and good getting that first set in the bag. But when your second set is Heist, you've got to go a little bit more on defensive. And this is not much of a better mode and map, let's be honest, to have. We're neck and neck. And we're going into Snake Prairie Bounty. This is where the draft really is crucial. You've got to consider very heavily your bans for Buzz, for Bo, for Tara. So much vision potential here. Let's see, we've got,
well, you just named pretty much all the bans.
The Gene and the Surge as well, I really quite like here as well. But, I mean, Shelly, Griff, there's still some big offenders open here. Certainly, for both sides. You've got to be so careful where you lurk in these bushes.
I mean, the draft is what wins Snake Prairie. So, this set probably going to be decided before we even go into it. Mo is going to be picked up from Reply Totem, one of the best brawlers in the game at the moment, so they'll be pretty pleased that that has snuck through this ban phase. But there's so many things, as Ark said, to account for that have the vision potential that you've got to get rid of before Mo. Rival Esports will follow with their 2 picks shortly. But on Snake Prairie, it's so tough to draft right.
It really is. Very troublesome. Even at this top level, the best in the world will struggle, undoubtedly, on a map like Snake Prairie. The bros are coming in for Rival. It's bold, it's early, however. Janet, I didn't like it when Elevate picked that in the 5th and final set. I can understand it here with the drop the base, getting a lot of information from your opposition for sure, but they trickle down, they decay over time. It's not gonna last forever, even with that additional gear to bring that gadget from 3 to 4. For Reply Totem, I wouldn't mind a Shelly here. Just be bold, get rid of that Rosa, get that knockback, and there it comes in. Love that for Reply Totem. They got some options now.
Yeah, I think the Janet will work if they're in the lead. They need that early lead. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. Some would say the worst brawler in the game right now, but might have some legs here.
I mean, for Snake Prairie, it does make a lot of sense. Able to get some damage output, but also heal your team at the same time. And the Rose is going to want to dive into this. I mean, I don't necessarily mind it, but it is very bold. I mean, ultimately, the Mo going to be getting the most amount of information. So a lot of pressure certainly placed upon that player and the vision gear that's going to be necessary to really get that information flow. Grom, again, the Watchtower gadget makes a lot of sense, but when you're being rushed upon, is it really the ball that you want to have on defense?
I mean, Rival are relying so heavily on all of their gadgets. When they run out, if they don't have the lead, I don't think they're going to get the lead back. Rosa with the unfriendly bushes, you know, the Watchtower from Grom and the drop the base from Janet is going to be make or break.
It's bold, it's dangerous, but this is the World Finals. Rival Esports really are putting a lot of faith in those gadgets. Let's see how they will fare already. The Watchtower on the right-hand side. But look at that, as quickly as that, Maori getting it taken care of. And the flank coming in. Rival do not have much of an idea where it's coming from, but Maori certainly has found themselves a target. Melty low, I guess with the pickup. The unfriendly bushes from Milk Rio gets the trade to the top left-hand side, and Rival have the lead.
But they've already used so many gadgets to get this early lead, and they're still going to continue going. I'm sure Maru probably going to be running that clay pigeon as well to get some long-range effect when he needs it. Maury going to get tapped up here by Melty though, and this Watchtower all the way in the spawn has now gone. Another one placed, and unfriendly bushes used once more. Chaos thinks he's going to be able to win that matchup against Milkrayo, which so far he is doing. Melty goes in with the Mo. Shield going to be used by Milkrayo to survive, but does eventually go down, and the rest of them not in a good position either. Totem extend the lead to 4.
Double takedowns for Reply Totem. The unfriendly bushes there will not slow nearly enough to close the gap. And Maru going in, being sneaky, finding Milkrayo, and a lovely gadget there with the clay pigeons to follow up, but just coming short as Shu finds Maori, bringing the total back a little bit more into Rival Esports' favour. Melty takes to the skies, showing his teammates where Maru is lurking, but again, that Rosa for Milkrayo needs to stay far away from that.
Yeah, well, hypercharge ready to go for the Shelly. And I mean, they're down and they're placing drop the bases in the spawn and playing defensive. This is the issue with their comp. They can't go aggressive. Milkrayo's going to have to be the front man here, because who else at this point? Totem have so much to use here. The hypercharge and the shell shock from Shelly. The super from Chaos. Down goes Shu, and the rest of them fall as well. Melty goes down as the last man on Rival. And Reply Totem, team wipe to win game 1.
Making Snake Prairie look easy. Chaos going in for style points, and we'll get a nice lead. Not even needed one on the side of Reply Totem. Wonderful stuff. And we said it coming in, Trav. When those gadgets were gone, Rival Esports were back up against the wall. Reply Totem did well to take advantage of that fact.
Yeah, real big issues for Rival Esports when on the defensive here. They need to be in those kind of aggressive positions with those gadgets being used and getting kills, otherwise it's going to be all downhill from here. They get the blue star again, but Chaos already flanking this right-hand side and no visibility on him just yet. These two brawlers are going to have a real tough time against him. Gadget used, but slowed down perfectly. Grom in the back left-hand corner. Chaos going to be out of reach of Milkrayo, but a good trade comes in, and the blue star and lead remain with Rival.
Maori and the Chaos going to consider regrouping now, and they drop the base, taken care of quickly. Now the Watchtower will expose that right-hand side, keeping Rival Esports aware to Maori's presence. Look at Chaos here, lurking behind Melty. It finds it as well. Captures the blue star, and Maori's about to run straight to Milkrayo. Double super, might even get a third, getting valuable hills there from Chaos. But look at this, a Grom bomb comes in. The blue star is the only thing keeping Reply Totem here afloat.
Yeah, Chaos got the super just in time. Maru on this right-hand side might be picked off by these two players here. Slowed down, but Maury goes in, and no help on the backside. One shot, and hypercharge used by Milkrayo to come and help his teammate out, and gets them the lead. Maru falls too, and Rival extend.
Chaos must have felt absolutely useless. If he had range, he had two easy, straightforward shots to land. But as a dog, he's so limited. And now Reply Totem have got to get a very good pinch together at just the right time. They can't really get behind the dog either. They've got to stay separate and come together at just the right time while staying on their feet under pressure. It's a tough thing.
More gadgets to expend as well. Rival have dealt with them a lot better this game. Chaos providing the heals, not where he wants to be in this point in time. 20 seconds on the clock and Rival Esports sitting pretty healthy at the moment. Totem starting to aggress now. The unfriendly bushes goes through but only affects one member of Reply Totem. Backed into a corner as Totem start to aggress. Still 6 seconds on the clock. Tight Chaos goes in. The super from Mori. They get it done for the trade and he survives. All so low. For Rival. He quits.
Everyone was down and ready to be taken out, but no one fell. Rival Esports did phenomenal there to hold their ground. So much pressure from Reply Totem. To their credit, they got that push right.
Oh my god.
They just couldn't seal it. So we go in now. Whoever takes this game will be 1 set ahead. Shulo Milgrio low as well, but again, this survivability continues in Rival's favor. This dunk pick not able to help out as nearly as much as Reply Totem need.
Mirror image from the first game as Rival Esports start to take a more healthy lead, second by second. Chaos using that super. Milcreo's just going to wait him out, try get some help from his teammates to be able to secure the kill after that super's gone. It is 5-0, and Totem have a lot of work to do.
Melty will drop the base and go straight to the skies. Tapping into Maru, finding on Chaos as well, and that's going to bring a great deal of awareness to Rival here. Chaos getting some heals over. Maru is in a very nice spot. He might go in here. He's found both players. He will do just that. He gets the gun. He gets the player. Milgreo's the last one standing. He's got the HP, but Rival Esports are now behind. Reply Totem, ready for the hills.
Dream position for Totem. They needed the lead, and that's what they have. Unfriendly bushes comes through. Who are they going to try and pick off? Chaos quite low, as well as Maru Mori in the same situation. Here comes the super. Maru affected by N2, drop down. Just Mori alive. 40 seconds between Rival and 2 sets.
4-star lead for Rival Esports and more gadgets placed down. That, however, is the last. Going to be surviving only on Melty now on his super. Maori got his drill, going to be coming in at just the right time as well. Everyone low, but Milgrio is going aggressive on Chaos, going aggressive on Maru as well, but Maori gets some stars. They are still behind by 2, but they find Melty, and that is enough to go on the retreat.
5 for Mori, 10 seconds and Rival Esports need stars. Still ticking down, Maru steps out, Chaos coming aggressive, can he be picked up? Super in hand as well, and they add more. 16-10. And Totem go up.
The roof is falling off this arena as we speak, as Reply Totem fans take the stand. A really commendable comeback. I was very, very worried for them there. They had to get that right, and it was not an easy thing to make happen. The communication really had to be on point for a lot of these pushes to make sure that the aggression was there, but combining it also with just calculation. Again, that same old story from that first game through to the third for Rival Esports. Once the utility was down, they were down for the count. Reply Totem could have faltered.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
So low in that second game. Everything could have been different, but what a play by Mori, and what plays, I should say, by Mori in this third game. Coming away with 5 stars in the end of it. Managed to get Melty picked up there as well and get the retreat and the win for Reply Totem. In terms of stars, or kills I should say, Chaos was 7. So much for being one of the worst brawls in the game, because here, he proved his worth.
A number of times I did feel like if it had been another brawler, there could have been more to the tally, let's be honest. But that additional healing really did play a valuable role. And just keeping everyone afloat, being able to go on the aggressive in correlation to that. I mean, I know that State Prairie for some of the communities is not their favorite, and I'm sure for some of the players, well, not necessarily theirs. But I found that very entertaining, I can't lie.
Love it. I love a bit of Snake Prairie. I will argue with anybody on that statement as well. Out in the open on Knockout could be our deciding game as Reply Totem just 1 set away from victory and the semi-finals. But Rival Esports will need 2 on the trot if they want to be able to get themselves that next round ahead.
I can vouch, you have always loved Snake Prairie. You know, it's not just words. I've known you a long time and you've always said the same thing. Right then, fans are in. The first pick of Gene, the reply totem, the bands, the Kenji, the Brock, and the Nanny. For Rival Esports, the Piper, the Angelo, and the Gus. Gus ban, really quite an underrated one, but one that I think is very much necessary here. Gonna leave open some heavy hitters still for me. I like the Pearl pick later on down the lines to combine with that Gene. Might be on the idea there for reply totem, but certainly some long range available. RT springs immediately to mind as one of those that could be on the cards for Rival Esports. And a second follow-up still to come, but good on both sides so far.
Yeah, I mean, Pearl, it's a great shout. It fends off tanks and pairs well with that Gene as well. So either side could be pretty happy to pick up that Brawler, I'd say. Got that decent mid-range. They're going to go with the Bell, however. Want to take the sharpshooter route, and obviously bouncing in these kind of later stages or early stages reveals where they are in the bushes and keeps players low. I really like that Brawler. Mark up some tanks and it makes it a lot easier too if that's the route Reply Totem go.
Reply Totem fans stomping in the arena at the moment is causing a bit of an earthquake here on the casting desk, and I love it. I really do love it. When the Brawl community get rowdy is what I live for, Trav. Let's see what they're thinking. Maru in deep thought there, and it is gonna be that Pearl combo. I really do like it here on Out in the Open. But certainly it does really come into some troubles against a Buster. They're going to be going with the Byron to get the heals in, but for me, if I'm Rival Esports, go with the Buster. It's going to be really, really hard for Reply Totem to go on the aggressive when they've got that charging their way forwards.
But also, even if they do just take another long-range Brawler, they've kind of got the lead in at the range as well. You know, against the Pearl who doesn't really do that much at range, and Byron who's more of a healer than a damage dealer at range. It's definitely not a worst of shouts to go with something like that, and it is going to be Eve. I don't love it, I don't hate it. Obviously the ability to walk over the water gives you a bit of an advantage over the left-hand side early on. But you know, if you can get that broken up with a Pearl Super or something like that, then that could work too.
Going to play well into the Byron, certainly that's going to be where those kind of hatchlings are going to be causing some trouble for Reply Totem. Keeping the Bell shooting, the Pearl shooting as well is going to keep that Overcooked low, so it's going to be a troublesome brawler actually for Reply Totem on some level, but I still just love this Gene Pearl combo. And the value that you can get from the Vision gear. I think for Rival Esports, they do have to heavily consider that Pearl pick and whether they go on the aggressive quickly to try to eradicate it.
Well, slow off the start for both teams here, just trying to temperature down a little. Reverse polarity from Melty will go bouncing around the map, but not find anybody just yet. A Byron shot connects with Shu, and he does have to retreat back over that water. Maru trying to make the most of this burn down damage from the gadget, but didn't find anything from it.
Nice gadget there from Melty, does find Maru, who has the shield now, but certainly not in the best of spots at the moment on the back lines there in the bush, but now pushing their way forwards. It's like Chaos getting some nice taps there from that top right. Shoot down to 1,300 HP there. Maru there pops a nice Overcooked, and Melty might even burn down here, going to survive just about, but forced back. He's going to land this mark, and Maru would be an ideal target, but Maori keeps up the aggression, keeping him low.
Yeah, Chaos taps doing so much. Melty starting to be able to heal, but that's cut short. Milk Rayo's so low. Shu the only one really with some decent HP, but that's not going to matter either. As Reply Totem take this first round, 3 players up to the 0 of Rival.
Maori has the ball as well. Now, can hunker down, supply some nice healing along the way. Try and secure Melty before he gets the mark off onto Maru. Milk Rio is definitely a hazard that Maru would like to avoid. If they've got the support, an ideal person to get rid of early now. Here comes the Overcooks from Maru, and big, heavy taps that left-hand side. We can go 3 versus 2. Chaos bouncing his tasks into the mid, keeping Melty low. Magic hand from Maori. The Reply Totem are making it look so straight forward. The game is there, and it's now match point.
6 kills to the 0 of Rival Esports. Something needs to change if you want to see a set 5, because 2 games in a row have to be theirs to be able to fend off Reply Totem and take them to a set number 5. Well, so far, it's all Totem caught off guard by Maru twice, and that was the entry to both of those games.
Certainly a great deal of pressure now. Maori low, goes down. Nice hacks gadget there from Milkrear to secure it. Low himself. Will he falter here? Like House going for Shu, but that might be enough He might fall down himself here. Milkrew surviving on. I guess falls down to Murray, just going to try to earn a super, I assume here. Can't really do much more, doesn't want to feed, but the gas still so far away. He'll fall now, and around goes the way of Rival.
Rival aren't done yet. Eve Hatchling's going to be available as well when Shu wants to bring them in. Might be able to gain some ground from that against Chaos 2. But Maury's pinch is there early on. They're now thrown down and evading these shots nicely. Vengeful Spirits only shoots one out. But Shu, not in the best of positions and forced to jump away. Now the Hatchlings come in, and Rival's just gained some ground.
Another Hatchling, not really that much of an issue for Maori. Maori is forced back, however. That melty mark, again, still needs to find its place. Being very patient in that regard on the side of Rival. Oh, look at this. Intense scrutiny there. And Shu will fall. He'll burn down in the middle of the jump. Maori coming in now, keeping Milkrew back. And this is a prime opportunity for Reply Totem to strike. Missed magic hand from Maori. It's an unusual sight to see.
Yeah, Melty goes down and Milkrew should be following shortly after, unless he can pull off the most miraculous 1v3 I've ever seen, trying not to feed that Gene Pull. Ends up feeding a good amount of Maru's super instead. One round now is all Totem need.
This round for a place in tomorrow's semi-finals. For Reply Totem, this is a huge moment that Milkrew might have survived, 789 HP, and Maru's going to continue to push his left-hand side. Got to be tread cautiously here. Rival Esports are pushed into a corner now, and when you're in a corner, you can bite back hard.
Hypercharge available for Melty. Gonna be able to get that increase move. Oh, Pull comes in, gets on Shu, but he's not dead yet. Gets some good shots in. Melty starts to bounce out. He gets one and evens the score. Splash comes through, and Milkrew gets hit. Totem on the brink of semis.
Just one more takedown, and Reply Totem will have done it. Melty is the sole survivor of Rival Esports, and fighting for his life. Maori now showing him up, again with that vision gear. It's just a matter of time, surely, for iChaos and Maori to secure what they need to do. The gas now coming in, they've got the heals as well. It's surely going to go their way if they can just secure Melty.
Gas comes in, shots being hit, Melty goes down, and Reply Totem go on.
Boys in green leave their rival in the dust, and a green light to the semi-finals. A trying year, if not the most trying year this organization has seen in Brawl Esports history, but they are trending up. Their biggest test yet, and a 3-1 scoreline is how their quarterfinals goes. We have got, Trav, 3 teams from EMEA in the semi-finals. That is ridiculous.
But EMEA's biggest kryptonite is there with them. Crazy Raccoon also making it that far. The APAC counterparts of Rival Esports. Reply Totem have knocked one out. Now going to be looking forward to try and take down APAC in entirety. But what great gameplay this was from Reply Totem. Pure brilliance all the way through this series.
What a pull there from Maori as well. Such a difficult brawler to land it on with the gotta go gadget on the Eve side of things. You know, you can dupe that accordingly. And even there, you know, the pressure can get to some, even the very best in the world there. You know you've got a straightforward opportunity to secure it, but sometimes it just takes a little moment of weakness and a little bit of getting over carried away to really cause a huge fumble. But they look so confident. That's what makes Reply Totem a really scary team. As the number 6 seed from EMEA, the lowest seed, gotta reiterate that. 3 quarterfinals exits, 1 monthly final which they didn't even qualify for. And then LCQ came around. Like, whatever they were doing behind the scenes to ensure they were prepared for LCQ and what was to come after that, you've got to commend Reply Totem and the team behind them for doing that, because they have just excelled.
Yeah, the least deserving team coming into Worlds, slowly becoming one of the fan favorites and making it all the way to the semi-finals, defeating Rival Esports here in a 3-1. A little bit of pushback, but overall, it was mostly the MEA side.
Today has been honestly just non-stop brawl. Exactly what we asked for from a World Finals as we look back through the bracket. Of course, for me, still that biggest story of the day, SK Gaming knocking out the world champions of Zeta Division in the first match. Humble then stomping Pioneers, quite literally a rarity to see a sweep on the World Finals stage of day 2. Crazy Raccoon, one game away, Trav, from being knocked out of the World Finals by a team which 2 of the 3 players are having their first World Finals. Commiserations to Elevate. Honestly, we had all of you in the crowd cheering on their side, except of course the big loud voices behind Crazy Raccoon. But again, you've got to commend them, haven't you? And for Reply Totem, a big victory against Rival Esports will put them into the semis tomorrow against Crazy Raccoon. I don't envy them for that matchup. SK Gaming versus Humble will be the first match tomorrow. And Trav, you know it's that time. We've got to talk about our predictions.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the honors.
To my disappointment, I don't want to do the honors, Ark. I don't want to do the honors. I was flawless coming into today, and then the first game where me and Ready Sets predicted Zeta Division went the way of SK Gaming. From there, for the most of us, pretty smooth sailing. Humble, Crazy Raccoon, and Totem were just Uber, missing off and losing his flawless streak with that Rival Esports prediction at the end.
So 16 streak for me now. Who would have thought it on the World Finals? Great time for it. We've had an absolute blast here for day 2. Make sure that you join us here tomorrow for day 3. We're going to head over to Banks to end out the day.
Thank you so much, Ark and Trav, for carrying us through that final match of day 2. Our semi-finalists are now locked in for tomorrow, and that means that all of our remaining teams in the competition are guaranteed $80,000. Tomorrow, we will be crowning our champion, and one team will get to lift that Brawl Stars Championship belt. Thank you so much to all of the players, to all of the talent, and of course all of the production for all of your hard work so far. But most of all, thank you so much to the fans, both here at the Superfest Arena and at home, for watching and supporting your favorite teams. Tomorrow is our final day, and we will be back here, same place, same time. My name is Banks. See you then.
Dernier jour demain. C'est incroyable, les gars. C'est trop bien, les gars. C'est à 16h30. Ok. Pourquoi il tape tous claim? Vas-y, je vais... Vas-y, moi aussi, je sais pas pourquoi il y a marqué ça. Incroyable, les gars, c'est trop bien. Bon, mais les gars. Voilà, les gars. C'était un live assez long pour être honnête. Et ouais, bah ouais, les gars, moi je soutiens Totem et tout. Et ouais, c'était vraiment un bon live, vraiment. Un live qui a duré super longtemps.